understand you went too far. When your ship has sailed and all your dreams are lost, everything is wrong, you feel like it's your fault. Just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life throws lemons, just call me. Just call me. Just call me. Just call me. You're stronger now than you ever been. You gotta leave now, it's time to catch the wind. You will climb up high and look through the clouds. And when you're feeling low, I know you'll bounce back. Oh, and just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life throws lemons, just call me. Just call me. Just call me. Just call me.
From Martinsville Speedway, a track that is older than our sport, right here in the beautiful hills of Virginia, the Stacy Strong Sunday Night NASCAR Cup Series is ready to get it on here in elimination night in our round of 8. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another night of Sunday Night NASCAR Cup Series racing right here on Sim Racing Media. Dave Riegel and Liam Uravig makes a stop tonight in the broadcast booth. We are glad to have you with us tonight. Of course, our playoffs have gone into high gear as it is elimination night, and we look forward to watching what happens and what unfolds right here on Sim Racing Media. We're proud to be with you every step of the way, from the green flag to the checkered flag, right here on SRM. And Liam, thank you for stopping in tonight and hanging out, as you and I have never gotten to work together until this very moment.
No, we haven't. This is a brand new experience for us. So we get to sit here, watch the same race from the same seat, and talk about it together, Dave. I'm super excited about it. And what better track could we come to than Martinsville to have this first experience working together? We've got a lot on the line here tonight as these guys are ready to race for a championship. Getting closer and closer here to that green flag, Dave. I tell you what, man, we are in for an absolute show.
Absolutely. Right now, locked in is Jacob Schneider. Well, actually, let me rephrase that as we pull up what's going to happen moving forward here. As I do want to pull up who's locked in and who's not. Of course, Alex Murray and Jacob Schneider both locked in with wins in the round of 8. And I'll tell you what, those two drivers have earned every bit of where they're at this season. Now, that leaves Jeremy Miller and Brandon Edstrom right here on the bubble. And it looks like Ryan Samuelson, 27 points behind Edstrom, is going to have to make some hay if he thinks he's going to make it into that championship 4 and bump Edstrom out of the way.
It's going to be tough for him, but I tell you what, 500 laps at Martinsville, that is the best way to take on any challenge here in the Sunday Night NASCAR Cup Series, the Stacy Strong Cup Series at that.
Brandon Edstrom did just come off the track. Here comes Alex Murray now from Concord, North Carolina. Of course, Brandon Edstrom always being cheered on by our very own Deb Harris. Deb Harris already paying attention here in our YouTube.com live chat. She says hi to Liam and me, of course, cheering on Brandon. And, I think Deb's really going to like our call to green tonight.
I think she is. Dave doing a little bit of special work behind the scenes. Going to give us something, well, I don't really know a way to describe it other than beautiful. We've got ourselves a fantastic call to green tonight. And I tell you what, as we watch this Alex Murray machine to work his way through qualifying, got a lot of stout machines tonight here too.
Yeah, not a whole lot of time distance between RJ Root and Jacob Schneider, as they're separated by 200th of a second and just 600th of a second to Brandon Edstrom. Now, Alex Murray rolls it out of 4 to cross the start-finish line at the conclusion of his first lap, and he's going to go 11th fastest. Let's see how quick he can get through here on the second lap. Looks like John Wilco, Matt Mettler, Cody Colley, Steve Herring, and Kenny Ron haven't gone out to lay down their qualifying times yet. And, just to bring you up to speed, as Murray crosses the start-finish line, Murray goes purple and he just blew RJ Root's time out of the water. 19.06 that qualifying lap, as RJ 19.25. That, sir, is blistering quick. As we get ourselves all settled in here, we want to take a quick look at that race info. Roll that beautiful bean footage. 65 degrees if you're sitting in the bleachers here in Martinsville Speedway holding one of those famous Martinsville hot dogs. Of course, we can always touch on some of the hot dogs.
They sell hot dogs here?
That's what I've heard. Now, I don't know if they're like the hot dog that I had during the Homestead Miami race, but I've heard that the Martinsville hot dog is something special.
I've heard too. They load that thing up with chili, cheese, sauerkraut. Get up in there with whatever toppings you'd like. Get some onions on there, a little bit of relish. They load that thing up for you, so you shouldn't have to add anything on. But
I feel like,
what, man, you put your favorite toppings on that hot dog, and there's nothing better than a Martinsville dog.
I feel like chili, cheese, sauerkraut, relish, plus the hot dog, and you have yourself a nice cold beverage, perhaps from Milwaukee or Pottsville, PA. You're gonna be quite the person in bed that night.
Tell you what, it's a nice thing to go to races single now, isn't it, Dave?
I guess so.
I get to eat what I want and fart however much I please.
See, now that's quality race observation right there, folks. Always plan out your diet with who you're sharing a bed with that evening. I'm pretty sure that I would have a foot up my keister if I came home after eating and drinking that and decided to maybe turn up the Dutch oven temperature. Anyway.
Oh, jeez.
But getting back to it, 65 degrees in the stands. Just 0.49 miles around this paperclip. You can talk about that in a moment, but 78 degrees the track temperature. Liam, what's that track temp going to do for these drivers trying to boogie around this joint tonight?
Well, we saw how it affected these Cup drivers today with a little bit different tire compound. These guys do not have that. So these tires are going to heat up. They're going to start to slip and slide around, but you're not going to have that kind of layer of asphalt, or not asphalt, of rubber that these guys have put down that they were slipping and sliding around on the Cup Series. These guys are going to have to be on it. These guys are going to have to minimize mistakes because there isn't going to be a chance for them, especially coming up off of these tight corners. Tell you what, man, Martinsville could not be a better choice for your final way. Put yourself into the championship.
Well, here's the thing. I always feel like, especially at playoff time, that we should be at those traditional NASCAR tracks. Go back to the southeast, go into that breadbasket, reach down there and pull out something good. Although that I love championship weekend, out there in Phoenix because you never have to worry about weather, it's still not, to me, it's not where NASCAR lives. NASCAR lives here in Virginia, the Carolinas, Georgia and Florida.
It certainly does. It's traditionally a southeastern sport, and we see a lot of the racetracks kind of lend a hand to that. A lot of tracks in, a couple in Virginia. We talk about Martinsville here. We've got Richmond. Bristol, Tennessee is just on the border of Virginia. A couple of tracks in North Carolina, talking about Charlotte Speedway. North Wilkesboro with the All-Star race. Atlanta. There's a lot of racetracks down there in the southeast, and Dave couldn't have said it better. This is the heart of racing. This is the heart of stock car racing. And this track, as Dave mentioned before we even got started, this track actually predates NASCAR. Born in 1947, NASCAR in 1948. A lot of history here at Martinsville Speedway.
Yeah, being at a place like this, it kind of eschews a lot of memories, especially growing up and watching some of these on Fox and ESPN as a younger person. But, when I look at some of this, I think one of my favorite shows has always been This Old House, and a place like Martinsville is more like This Old Track and the stories that it could tell. And it looks like warm-up is going to be underway. Just 4 drivers did not qualify this evening. So not the end of the world by any stretch of the term as drivers getting in their cars for the warm-up session. Going to take a look here at Matt Metler as he's going to roll off in the number 64 Ford Mustang.
Yeah, Matt Metler, he was a colleague of ours. Now he's sitting out here doing some racing, hoping for some good results here as these guys show up to Martinsville. Matt's an aggressive driver. He's going to be looking for a little bit more here at Martinsville.
Absolutely. Also going to take a look here at Dalton Mobley in the Deuce. He's here in his Chevrolet. Kind of a cool paint scheme that Dalton has. Let's get on down here and see if we can pull that up. Of course, now my cameras are all over the place. I like the flames coming out the side. It's almost got a Jeff Gordon feel with the font of that too and the flames, but still has that elite paint scheme on it.
Kind of reminds me of Jeff Gordon's 2010 car when he started to put black, yellow, and red up on the front of that thing. That elite logo on the hood taking complete precedent over anything else. Those flames going all around it. Good job by the designer there on that too, and good job by the driver there working through it. As we go back now to the number 74, Brandon Edstrom, quickest so far in the warm-up, driving that no-kid-hungry Ford Mustang, getting down into turn number 1. Actually, Alex Murray is going to be quicker than him, as a big lock up there out of that 74 is going to slow his lap down.
Alex Murray out here in the double deuce once again, just laid down purple time, 19.13 seconds. Going to look back here at Ron Fitting from Sumter, South Carolina, in his number 3 Chevrolet. So earlier on in the season, Liam, he had kind of a Days of Thunder paint scheme, and he is stuck with that green and yellow. It's almost a John Deere green, but I'll tell you what, he makes this thing look really good in his Black Bullet Racing Dubby Chevrolet as he noses into the wall. That's not really good. Seems like maybe we put the broadcaster's curse on him.
Just a little bit of warm-up, trying to figure out the last way to push it here before you get down into the race situation. You saw it from the 49 there, going head-on into the wall right in front of the 29. These guys are absolutely on edge, trying to figure out the last possible thing that they can, try to worked through 500 laps of Martinsville. This is your last chance to try to get an adjustment in there, or at least figure out what you got.
Yeah, absolutely. One of the things to keep an eye on is the fact that it is a scheduled race of 500 laps the distance here. Of course, you have to remember that 500 laps sounds like a lot, but with 19-second laps and not that much fall off in time, maybe falling off to 20 and a half seconds, maybe low 21s, these laps are going to peel off faster than a banana. And but stage break's going to be at lap 130 and 260. The drivers are going to have 9 sets of tires. So I'm guessing, and this is purely an educated guess, we're not going to see too many drivers coming in for green flag pit stops at Martinsville.
No, not at all. Not until we hit that third stage. And I tell you what, that's going to take a lot of agreement on these drivers to be able to get through the final 240 laps without caution. Talk about green flag pit stops. That's a very likely process that we're going to see, but it does factor into how clean can these drivers be on the longest of green flag runs here, as we have a 240 lap final stage. It's going to be a lot longer than any of these guys have been able to push it in practice, so we'll definitely take a keen eye on the first 2 stages, but coming up on stage 3, when these guys are pushing it harder and further than they have before, that's going to be a great show for us.
No, and I'll tell you what, something that, you're going to see tonight, Liam, is as a newcomer here to the SNN Cup League, these drivers are very good when it comes to safety. Of course, now I probably just jinxed the crap out of it. But, these drivers generally take very good care of their equipment throughout the early stages of the race. So we're going to see them crank up the heat, like you said, in stage 3. But, long story short, the first 2 stages, they will probably do a lot of single file racing. There's not going to be a whole lot of aggression. Stage 2, we might see a couple of fights break out. But stage 3, that's when we're going to be looking for those 3 wide situations. And usually you're going to hear guys on race radio screaming hysterically like their hair is on fire.
Yeah, you'll have me hearing all of that, listening for all of the aggression on the radio, right here to tell it to you first here on Sim Racing Media.
Absolutely. As we've just finished up the warm-up session here.
Schneider tried a little bit of a Ross Chastain. Schneider already the quickest car in the warm-up session, going to be starting 3rd. But I guess Dave can tell you a little bit more about this starting grid.
Absolutely. As the starting grid's getting in gear here, of course, you can see the whole picture right here, but you folks know how we do it. We're going to go one at a time because they deserve it, especially at this stage in the season. Sitting on your pole position tonight, going to be Alex Murray in the Double Deuce, that Ford Mustang ready to rock and roll. He'll be joined on the front row by R.J. Root. Jacob Schneider and Brandon Edstrom going to be featured on row number 2, while Mark Johnston and Ryan Samuelson make up row number 3. Row number 4 going to feature Tanner Marty, who is back in the SNN Cup Series in his Chevrolet Camaro with the number 29 plastered down the side of it from Nitro, along with Nathaniel Spooner in the 55. Cody Colley and Jeremy Miller going to round out your starting top 10 here in row number 5, as Jeremy Miller out of Burlington, New Jersey, going to be trying to drive for yet another win this season. Chief Cook and Bottle Washer in the SNN Cup Series, Chris Claude, going to be on row number 6 alongside of Rafael Rodriguez, one of our international contestants here in this league from Cordoba, going to be starting in 12th. Sean Rogers and Kavaja Holt, who I saw earlier today in an NIS race, getting ready to rock and roll, as Kavaja, always an incredible competitor here in this league from Waynesboro, going to be rolling off 16th. Dalton Mobley and Ken Ron, one of my fellow statesmen from Dillsburg, Pennsylvania, going to start the number 33 GoPro Chevrolet in 18th, as John Wilco from McAdoo, Pennsylvania, going to be alongside Mr. Matt Metler from the Mid-South, of course, down there in Florida, going to be starting shotgun on the field. 20 cars going to take the green flag when it waves. Timothy Cook opting not to take the start, so kind of an interesting choice from him, but 500 total laps. We're ready to rock and roll here, as all things getting ready to rock. The iRacing.com pace car lights are out. Here comes our call to green.
Pace car starting to pick up a little bit of pace as they come out of turn number 4. Pace car's getting ready to peel it on off. It's going to make that hard left turn down pit road as we get ready to turn them loose. The only thing is left to say is it's time to wipe the visor and adjust the 5-point harness. Race fans, it's showtime!
And we are underway as Alex Murray jumps out to a good lead so far as we get that ticker ready to rock and roll. He has got a bumper full of RJ Root.
It's showtime indeed, and RJ Root is looking to try to take the lead away here on lap number 2. Right up on that rear bumper and is able to get up off of the corner decently well, but I tell you what, man, getting through this first, we've got a caution flag out already as Chris Claude has had an issue along with Dalton Mobley. Matt Medler also caught up in that. Ken Ron. It'll be a damaged car. Up the racetrack, comes back down, doesn't seem to be the issue yet. Oh, wow.
Let me run this back here as we're going to see exactly what might have just happened from Chris's perspective. Oh, nope, my replay just decided no, it didn't want that. Let's see if we can get that.
Pace car starting to pick up a little bit of pace as they come out.
Bear with us, folks, as I've got a little bit of a technical difficulty here.
It's all right. We should be getting to the caution. Well, unable to get the replay, but it looked like Chris Claude was just stuck up on the top side. It's the 33. Got, here we go. 33 gets up into the back bumper of the Ford, thrown up in there. Looks like 12. Chris stays up top. The 33 is going to have a chance to get to the bottom 3 wide. That's him inside of the 2. Maybe didn't know he was 3 wide. Comes up the racetrack as if he's trying to clear 1 car, but not 2. Unfortunately gets himself turned into the fence. Doesn't seem to be a lot of damage on that car, but not the way you want to start 500 miles, or 500 laps, rather, at Martinsville.
Yeah, that's definitely no way to start. It looks like John Wilco came down pit road. Not sure if he had any damage from that or if he just decided to quick make some adjustments, which, at this stage in the race, why not? But, your tires weren't even come up to full speed yet at that point, or full temperature, that is. But John Wilco rolling back out. Alex Murray, RJ Root, Brandon Edstrom, Ryan Samuelson, and Mark Johnston going to lead us back to green when it happens, as we should see that momentarily. These drivers, I'll tell you what, Liam, they've been waiting all year long to come back to Martinsville after what we've seen this season.
Yeah, this is probably the best chance for anybody to settle any scores that they've had throughout the course of the season before you jump up into championship week.
Those caution lights on the fence are out. That means we'll be getting ready to go back green this time by. As it looks like Murray has opted for the outside lane. Of course, in this league, we don't have a full choose cone, but the leader can opt for which lane he so desires. As the iRacing.com pace car makes that hard left turn down pit road, Alex Murray with control gets into the Geico restart zone. He hits the loud pedal, or not. He's messing with me.
Wait for it.
Wait for it. Wait for it's a second Geico restart zone. He hits the loud pedal, and we're back underway.
Back underway. 7 laps complete. We've still got 493 to go, and these guys are showing aggression levels like they are already. Some side-by-side, a little bit of 3 wide towards the back. That lead to 22 went way wide, and the caution has come out once again. We've got another spin down the back straightaway.
Well, 9 laps, 2 cautions. Every 4.5 laps, I guess perhaps we'll be here sometime on Wednesday. Let's see what happened here with Ron Fitting and Steve Herring. Looks like maybe the impetus out of Jeremy Miller as we get rolling here.
And not an ideal way to restart this race. It didn't seem like terrible of contact. Take a look here. I believe 55. First one to get sideways. Yes, he is. Smacks the wall there. And around goes Miller.
That looked like, you know what, hold on, let me run this back here and just take a quick peek, because that didn't look, at least from my perspective, like it was intentional by any stretch. It looked like perhaps, oh, there it is. The 30 just, probably had a tire go down that dragged him in.
Yeah, once he got into the back of that spinning car in front of him, kind of compromised and got back on the gas and turned over to the right.
Well, and you know, bringing home the cleanest car is usually not doable here at a place like Martinsville. Not a whole lot of room, but you know, with only 20 drivers out on the track tonight, looks like 19 left. It looks like Nathaniel Spomer may have considered putting it on the hauler. In fact, he did. You know, there should be plenty of real estate. These guys shouldn't be bumping and banging this early.
There should be, but the thing about the real estate is that there's not always a car there. And when you take these restarts, there's always somebody there. You're trying to do everything you can to maximize your position on these restarts. Try to get down to the inside, brake train somebody else. I know it's a little bit frustrating at the start of the race to see a couple of cautions like this, but this is the prime opportunity for these guys to make up spots, and you just don't know how many restarts you're going to see. As you mentioned, with only 20 cars on the racetrack, when things get spread out, they're going to get spread out a lot more than we saw in, say, the NASCAR Cup race today. These guys are going to be left to themselves. They're going to have to try to figure out their cars. I expect to see some long runs, and maybe expect to see some of these front runners struggle a little bit just on how to set up their cars for the long run.
Well, you know, and even after being involved in that initial caution, I mean, even, Chris Claude's still on the lead lap. Doesn't look like he's got a whole lot of damage here to the 10 in that Wendy's machine. Of course, I had told Chris earlier in the season he was running some paint schemes. He's usually a Coca-Cola consumer. And he started running paint schemes that were more Pepsi geared. As soon as he switched over to Wendy's, which of course proud purveyors of Coca-Cola and Coca-Cola products, suddenly he's got a little bit better luck on the racetrack, as it looks like it's that time, Liam.
It is that time. Here's Alex Murray up on the top side. It's going to be our third attempt at a restart here. Alex Murray waits as long as he possibly can, gets the restart, top side gets going better. Almost going to be not quite clear for second place there, but it was almost as we're side by side for second. Look at the 81 trying to work down to the inside of the 24. 74, rather.
Yeah, that's Ryan Sanderson working underneath Brandon Edstrom in the 74, and right now Edstrom trying to hold him off, and it looks like he's finally getting there. Now he's got to creep up on RJ Root's back bumper. If I was these drivers, and this is just my opinion, it's time to go single file, maybe feel one another out. We've seen some early cautions. It's time to get racing. And, even as we go back here through the field, we're going to see, there he is, Kavaja Holt, who I had seen running in second place earlier today in an NIS race, finally getting his way up here into ninth position. He's up 5, and our second biggest mover alongside of Matt Metler, who's just behind and starting to, finally build up some steam here.
Yeah, Matt Metler, our biggest mover of the day. He's up 8 spots from where he started. We even saw him involved in a little bit of contact earlier. Fantastic job here by this 64 machine. He always brings a beautiful paint scheme to the racetrack. And I tell you what, Matt Metler is doing what he needs to do to try to work his way up to that top 10. Maybe even ask for a little bit more to that top 5. So now here comes a move to the inside from the 30. Going to be an easy pass there. We look to Jeremy Miller, who was able to get around him. But just in front of these guys, Rafael Rodriguez working to the inside of Kavaja Holt. Able to get that pass done. And once again, we're sitting single file kind of what all these guys should be hoping for here with 110 laps to go in this stage. We've got ourselves a battle up front here. This is second place right now, looking at Ryan Samuelson as RJ Root is all over the back bumper of the 74. Brandon Edstrom just in front of him. These guys sit about 2 seconds off of the battle or off of the race lead. And I tell you what, that car up in front, slowing these guys down, absolutely a detriment for a guy like RJ Root. He wants to make that pass as quick as possible to try to set himself up, chase down Alex Murray up the 22. Right now, he's just stuck behind that 74. Not much he can do.
No, and, the entire time that they're back here, that's allowing Alex Murray to extend that lead. He's already up to 1.9 seconds over Edstrom and Root. So these guys need to decide, are they going to fight one another or are they going to try to do something? Side by side right now is Kavaja Holt and Jeremy Miller, as Miller just pretty much made that look simple to get around Kavaja. I think we're going to see some patience out of Kavaja tonight, as he has really honed his racecraft over the last few years that I've been associated with this league. And Kavaja is one of those drivers where some weeks, sometimes you get the bear and other times the bear gets you. And he's had a rough couple of weeks, but I think this is going to be the week that he finally gets over that hump, as Jeremy Miller now working his way around Rafael Rodriguez.
Down to the inside, makes that pass look easy. Jeremy Miller sitting here in the 30 car in 10th place. It's been a strong run for him so far. He started in 10th, he's sitting in 10th. We've seen a lot of comers and goers so far. For that 30 car to stay right where he sat, gotta feel all right at least. Not losing spots.
RJ Root just 0.2 of a second over Brandon Edstrom. They're still up here duking it out. I mean, I'll tell you what, Liam, now, as somebody who was an awful driver back in the day, it's got to be exciting to at least have people to compete with throughout the race, even while the leader is running away like he stole a bunch of money.
Yeah, it absolutely is. I think Elliott Sadler is one of the first people I heard to say, drive it like you stole it. That's what Alex Murray is doing right now. He's got a 3-second gap as the caution has come out once again. I believe Cody Coley has been involved in an incident here. Cody Coley falling back down the ranks. Gonna figure out what happened here.
We'll see what happened with Cody Coley right here. You're going to want to keep your eyes on the 56, that Superflow Chevrolet, as he hauls it down the backstretch and into turn 3. He might have...
That 30 machine.
There it comes.
30
There it is. Oh, the 80 catches the wall. In fact, let me just run that back here, as right now that's going to be Mark Johnston. Looks like Johnston kind of got himself caught up here. Oof. I don't know. It's like that rear end just wouldn't stop coming around.
No, it really did not want to. That's a tough deal.
"29 laps in the book so far. Sean Rogers and Matt Mettler, both your big movers of the evening. Sean Rogers up into 5th position. He's cracked into that top 5 in the 44 in his beast mode Chevrolet. And I've said this before, Liam. I feel like our sport is the only place where you can hear someone say Chevrolet in full all night long.
But absolutely is. You're not going to see a Broncos number 9 Chevrolet or a Ford Bronco there for the Denver team. This is it. This is where you get to see your favorite brands compete against one another. And I tell you what, man, there's something about being a Chevy fan that just makes you a little bit better than a Toyota fan, or maybe vice versa.
Well, Jeff Foxworthy said it years ago. One of the things that people didn't like about Jeff Gordon was that he enunciated. And what did Jeff Gordon drive? A Chevrolet.
Chevrolet with the Rainbow Warriors.
I'll tell you what, that was part of NASCAR.
Wasn't no Chevrolet with the Rainbow Warriors.
It wasn't a Chevy.
Wasn't no Chevrolet with the Rainbow Warriors. It was a Chevrolet with the Rainbow Warriors.
Listen, that was probably some of the best times in NASCAR. that mid-90s, the Rainbow Warrior, the young kid coming out to challenge what was essentially...
Boy.
Right. And essentially, there were a lot of drivers that were starting to fade into their retirement at that time. And he was that new breath. It made it special.
There's been interviews that Rusty Wallace has talked about how mad he was that this guy comes up out of nowhere. He says, no, I'm supposed to be the guy that's challenging Dale Earnhardt. Jeff Gordon comes up out of nowhere and outdoes me. It's not okay. Green flag back out in the air. Strong restart there for Alex Murray. Apologies for not being able to get to it. Kind of got stuck with a good conversation. Side by side for second place, though. RJ Root trying to keep Brandon Edstrom behind him. Big move to the inside in turns 3 and 4. He's going to be able to hold on to second. Now we've got a battle for fifth. Samuelson works to the outside of Sean Rogers. Samuelson seems strong. Sean Rogers not strong on the inside right now, but dead even as they come up off of turn number 2 down the back straightaway. Does the inside line have enough, or is Ryan Samuelson going to be able to pull forward on the top? Big loose moment there out of Samuelson, and that's going to put the 44 of Sean Rogers comfortably into 4th place. Look at Samuelson now as he's got to work back behind the 0-2 of Jacob Schneider. Little bit of a recovery time for Samuelson here.
Yeah, Samuelson's going to want to step back and maybe survey the field. Maybe take a little 3-step drop there since it is Sunday. But take a 3-step drop, survey the field as we are back under caution. And it looks like Matt Mettler may have bit the big one this time. Let's see what happened. Looks like Mettler all by his lonesome here. Chris Claude seems to be tight. I don't want to tell him what to do, but I think it's time to take a little wedge out.
Oh, there was a spin in front of Matt.
Oh,
he didn't know where to go.
Fact,
poor Matt Mettler there. He just had absolutely nowhere to go. Let's maybe try to ride on board with him.
Let's see if we can ride right here with Matt in the cockpit.
Yeah, just as he comes up across the A-post, he is... It's wild, man. It's like as soon as he's in the mirror, you can see him, but as he crossed the A-post, he was sideways. Nowhere for Matt Mettler to go, and a really tough break there for the 60 car of Rafael Rodriguez to get turned around there and take a hit.
Yeah, Rodriguez, a very competitive driver, still good. It looks like we're going to have some wholesale pit stops here early. Once again, Alex Murray coming down. He's decided that it's time for maybe some for Mr. Feelgoods. Let's see what's going on. Yep, he's going to take rights and lefts and roll off a pit road. That's kind of a terrible... guess I'll have to find out how to fix that camera angle, because that was a terrible place for him to have to stop, and we couldn't see him. The challenges of sim racing. But that's gonna cycle some things differently here atop the pile. RJ Root going to have the button this time around, along with Sean Rogers, Jacob Schneider, Jeremy Miller, and Tanner Marty. Now that Alex Murray and Brandon Edstrom and Ryan Samuelson have cycled themselves to the rear, 6 drivers have not come down for pit service through 38 laps, and quite frankly, unless your lap times are going to be that detrimental, there's no reason to.
It is a tough call to try to make that track position versus fresh tires call. We've seen, at least throughout the course of the day in the Cup race, that stay out on older tires and still make it work. But that is a different tire package than what we are seeing with these guys here today. So it'll be interesting. RJ Root, he's been out front for a little while. One of the strongest racers here in terms of iRating. But we'll see if these older tires can hold on. See that 0-2 machine playing with those lines. Normally in the Cup Series, if you cross that white line, that's a commitment to the pit lane. Not the case here on iRacing, not in Sunday Night NASCAR. So you see that 0-2 jumping down there. He's just out here playing mind games as we get ready for the 1 to green here. 1 lap until the restart. RJ Root's going to lead Seth Rogers, Jeremy Miller, Jacob Schneider, Tanner Marty, Chris Cloud, Dalton Mobley, Ken Rod, Alex Murray, and Matt Metler rounding out the top 10. We get ready for a restart here at Martinsville.
I'm curious to see what happens with Metler here after he nosed in to the 60 just moments ago. As RJ going to have control of the field, rolls us out of turn number 4. He enters the Geico restart zone. He hits the loud pedal, and we're back underway. Let's keep an eye right here on Matt Metler and see. It doesn't look like he's got too much damage on the front of that Mustang, but he's being shoved along by Brandon Edstrom as they're basically marbles trying to get out of a barrel. 3 wide down the backstretch. Brian Samuelson, the meat in this sandwich, and it's going to send Ken Ron up the racetrack. Oh, everybody trying to jockey for position. It's like trying to find parking on Ocean Drive.
Oh my goodness, don't tell me about that. I suppose you were there with me, but Matt Metler able to get away from this okay, and props to that team for getting the damage repaired. There are no fast repairs in this league, so props to that team for being able to get Matt Metler out there, back there in a chance to run for a top 10 position. They've got a long way to go to keep repairing that damage, but such is the case for a lot of these guys that we've seen turned around through the course of this race. It's early on in the show. We're only on lap number 44, so we've got a long way to go in front of us. Good recovery for some of these guys who have taken some damage. Matt Metler especially. Rafael Rodriguez also, a guy that we've seen get turned around. He's sitting up in the top 15. Now we take a look at a big lock up there out of the 74. Now we jump up to RJ Root, your race leader. Not much to worry about for RJ. But that 74, man, that was a big lockup getting down into 3. Looking to the inside of Chris Cloud. Chris lets him take that position fairly easily. Tell you what, Matt, Brandon Edstrom was up front earlier on in the race. He's not where he wants to be, though, is he?
No, and in fact, as we're keeping an eye here, you're going to see Chris Claude probably bleed a couple of spots. He's going to let some of these drivers who have a little bit, fresher set of tires, because Chris has not come down yet. He's going to let that fresh tire brigade on past him. And, at the end of the day, he's going to be Mr. Consistency. He's going to be hitting these same marks time after time after time as Edstrom is chewing his way back through the field on his recovery drive with those fresh tires. It looks like he's going to be bringing along Samuelson and Mobley. And so far, so good. But those top 3 drivers not coming down pit road yet. Alex Murray, however, he's going to be the first one to start trying to gnaw his way up here toward RJ Root, who's now got just a 0.3 of a second lead over Schneider in the 02.
Schneider has been chasing the 69 machine down. But you talk about these fresh tires with Alex Murray, Brandon Edstrom, Dalton Mobley. A lot of these guys, Dalton Mobley, another guy who's made a phenomenal recovery after getting spun out before, but a lot of these guys taking these fresh tires, they've got 9 sets of tires in the pits, so they know that they can be a little bit aggressive early on. But the last thing you want to do is end up using all those tires up. Jacob Schneider, he's not worried about tires right now. He's just trying to get closer and closer to the back bumper of RJ Root. Look at him getting about 3/4 of the way through the corner before RJ is able to get to the gas. Less than a car length on entry. That would be enough of a window for a Cup driver maybe to decide it. Jacob Schneider playing a little bit more patience, though. Trying to get into the rear mirror and into the rain, into the mind of that 69 in front of him. Here comes Jacob Schneider down to the inside. Is he going to hit him? No, he is not. Clean racing up front here. Jacob Schneider looks to be able to take the race lead. Nope, RJ Root fights hard up on the top side. No kid goes hungry. No RJ goes without a fight. But put the 0-2 of Jacob Schneider up into the race lead.
Schneider and Root both teammates here, and they're usually running the same setup. So maybe RJ's got something that he can allow Schneider on by. You see those brake drums really starting to get hot there in the 69.
I was about to bring that up. You're not seeing that so much out of the 0-2 up in front of RJ. But RJ using a lot of rear brake. Those rotors are glowing red, getting down into the corner. You look at how beautifully orange they are. Go ahead and take a look at the feet of your racing driver here and see if we can see just why.
Here it is. That's a better shot of it right here. You can see right here as we're going to float our little drone here. Watch these rotors glow. I mean, he is on them hard, but you know what? He's also on them kind of late. I mean, RJ's usually a tire-saving wizard, but we're seeing him not really brake early here. You know, usually he's going to be braking on the straightaways to loosen the car up into the turn, but he's definitely driving hard into these corners.
Absolutely is. He knows it's early, and the
Smoke
caution is
fired.
out once
Here it
again.
comes.
Caution is out. The 33 of Ken Ron up against the wall. Doesn't look like a lot of damage. He's maybe waiting for the field to go by so he can safely rejoin. Doesn't look to be a situation where we're waiting for that driver to get out of the car.
Let's take a look here as I'm going to run this back. Of course, we'll see what happened here as we're going to just take one quick run at this. Looks like Ron coming out. Oh, rubs the wall, comes across the start-finish line and just nuzzles his way. Oh, not bad.
Overcorrection ends up being what does it there.
You know, one of the things I'm thinking about here is we're on the 5th caution of the evening. You know, these drivers up in front, you know, Schneider, Root, and Rogers, which to me, by the way, Schneider, Root, and Rogers is probably a law firm somewhere in the Midwest chasing ambulances down. But, you know, 5 cautions, it's probably 20 laps of caution. That's 20 laps that you don't have to account for, you know, on your total tire time. So they may be just realizing, hey, they can save a set of tires as they get deeper in here while everybody else is changing them like my underwear.
Well, that's a tough call there because a guy like Jacob Schneider, RJ Root, they haven't hit it yet. Somebody like, give me a moment. Somebody like Alex Murray, he came in under the last caution on 36. Brandon Edstrom the same. Ryan Samuelson also came in. Those guys have already used a set of tires, so they can't play that same call that you were thinking about there, Dave. So already early on, we're 60 laps into this race. We've got split strategies. These guys using a set of tires early on versus trying to save them for the rest of the race.
Without a doubt, as the iRacing.com pace car crosses the start-finish line one more time, we're going to have another lap of caution here as we roll through. And I'll tell you what, at some point tonight, I know we're going to do it. We're going to try to get a hold of someone, so stay tuned, folks, as we'll be able to get a hold of some of your favorite drivers. Let us know who you're pulling for in our YouTube.com live chat. Deb Harris, as always, we're glad to have you with us. She says that it's going to be a long night. And Amanda Price.
Johnny, all you had to say was we get to talk to people. I'm getting ready to pull people in every single caution. We'll see if that actually happens because obviously storylines have to play out before we talk to people. But tell you what, we've got the 1 to green. Can't wait to see what the next storyline is going into the next caution. Who can we talk to? Right now, the 0-2 holds on to the race lead. That is Jacob Schneider. Got around to RJ Root before that caution came out. He elects to take the outside lane. So that puts Jacob Schneider outside of RJ Root. Alex Murray, Sean Rogers, Brandon Edstrom, Jeremy Miller, Rafael Rodriguez, Ryan Samuelson, Tanner Marty, and Ron Fitting. Round out your top 10. The pace car makes that hard left turn. We watch the flagman ready. There it goes. Flag is in the air. Green flag back out once again. And already a big lead from Jacob Schneider getting down into the corner. Let's just listen to the sound of these cars.
These drivers already wound up as we take a look here at the 44 of Sean Rogers. Amanda Price cheering him on. We'll get a chance to talk to him shortly as the top 3 drivers still not coming down pit road. Everybody else has done so. It looks like Rogers, Root, and Schneider got to be sticking it around. Now you see the pink trim on these SNN Cup cars here in the Stacy Strong Cup Series. Of course, we are heavily involved with breast cancer awareness. That's why the pink. And of course, it is October still, this last race in October, Breast Cancer Awareness Month. And of course, this league always honoring Stacy Tarnowski, the late wife of driver Brian Tarnowski, who is not in the field this evening. But Stacy is the inspiration for the name of this league, as she was one of the people, a lot like Deb Harris, who is with us every week. And Stacy was just a joy to get to know through iRacing. And of course, Brian and I have some track history together. When I first came into this league, it seemed like there was a magnet between Brian and I, that we couldn't be within 4 car lengths of one another because we were going to wreck the other. And Brian is just such a great guy, and he has really put, the support of this league on his shoulders in the wake of his wife's passing.
And that is something to be said about Brian. I mean, to be able to have that strength to continue on. I mean, that is, I can't even begin to describe how big of a loss that is. To lose your wife, to lose your partner in life, that is, I can't even, that has got to be one of the most heartbreaking things that a human being could ever deal with. And props to him for being able to not only continue on, but like you said, kind of take this league, put it on his shoulders a little bit.
Well, and some of the other backstory to that, and it's why the person who used to sit in my seat was so enthusiastic about calling this league, Mr. DePasso. He, when Stacy was falling ill during her last battle with the cancer, we had a fundraiser race in this league. It was one of the first times that many of us from SRM were able to work together here in the broadcast booth. Tony absolutely championed the support of Stacy Strong and everything that we stand for in this league. And that's why it's an honor for us to sit here in the Tony Trapasso Memorial Broadcast booth watching Sunday Night NASCAR Cup Series action. This is the SNN Xfinity 500. Of course, folks, we want to let you know we do run the full length in this league. It's an open setup league. This is literally as close as you're going to get to real-life cup racing right here on iRacing.com.
It absolutely is. And Alex Schneider, Jacob Schneider, rather, has pulled out to almost a 2-second lead over RJ Root. It's 1.6 now. He gets around this lap car, the 89, with ease. And Steve Herring gives away the spot there, and now we've got a 1.7 second gap between first and second place. RJ Root trying to chase him down. Both of these top two have not made a pit stop. First guy on fresher tires is going to be Alex Murray in third place. He's actually all over the back bumper of RJ Root right now, and well, I guess we'll see if these extra 30 or so laps on the tires make a difference.
Well, you say that, and I'm looking here at the timing. Schneider and RJ both are running 1945 and 1964. In fact, let's pull up their lap times, folks. You can compare this to everybody else right here on the left side of your screen. Now, you see right here that RJ and Jacob are running 1953 and 1969.
Oh,
everybody
here
around
comes
them.
Murray to the inside, looking to the inside of RJ Root. He's at the door down the front straightaway. I hate to interrupt you there, Dave, but what a battle we've got going on for second place as RJ Root trying to stay tough on the top side. The caution comes out once again, and now I got to wonder who was in front at the scoring loops as we take a look back to see what brought out the caution. Looks like Tanner Marty gets turned around. Let's take a look, see what happened here. Getting down into the corner. 29 seems strong coming up off. Stays, gets a little bit loose, comes back up the racetrack over correction into another competitor.
And here they come. Schneider and RJ both down pit road. Now, something that now, of course, this throws my entire monologue a moment ago out the window, but as we're past the halfway mark here in stage one, you know, they were running basically the same lap times that everybody who had come down pit road was already on. So that shows you right there what kind of skill that we're dealing with. You know, these drivers that came in for fresh tires earlier on in the stage, they still have to compete with these two guys who are about to go out here and lay down basically blazing lines of fire on this racetrack.
I love that line, blazing lines of fire on this racetrack.
That's what I'm thinking here. And while we think about that, we're going to step aside and pay some bills right now on Sim Racing Media. I'm Dave Riegel. He's Liam Uravig, and this is Sunday Night NASCAR.
Imagine a theater experience so real, you're part of the action. Breakthrough technology that shakes your seat at precisely the right moment so you can feel the action on the screen. Choose 4D Cinemas powered by Butt Kicker for the ultimate theater experience. And for the ultimate in movies, gaming, and sports at home, add your own Butt Kicker. A simple, wireless, affordable device that takes just seconds to install. Text the word on the screen right now to receive a special offer. Get Butt Kicker and feel what you've been missing.
Live here at Martinsville Speedway. 85 laps going to be complete as they cross the line here. Alex Murray still holds on to the lead over Brandon Edstrom. Dalton Mobley has been able to work his way up to third place. A phenomenal recovery there out of the two. Mark Johnson, RJ Root round out the top five. But I tell you what, man, Alex Murray has been putting on a charge, not looking in that rearview mirror whatsoever. Even though he's got Brandon Edstrom just a couple of tenths behind him, he's doing everything he can to increase that gap, and he continues to do so as it's now just about half a second between first and second place.
I'm keeping my eye on Ryan Samuelson right now, as he just went purple in the first half of the racetrack, his last lap. He just laid down a 9.63 second half lap, and that's impressive. So is our lap times tonight, already blistering fast at 19.24 for Murray's best. And right now, he and Brandon Edstrom have laid down the fastest laps of the night.
They definitely have. However, Dalton Mobley is not where he wants to be right now. He's sitting up on the top side of the racetrack in 7th place. Meanwhile, Chris Cloud, here's Dalton up on the top side, getting kind of freight train. You hate to say that term, but man, he's stuck up on the top side, gets himself in line, and a big lockup in front of him as the 80 car goes up the racetrack.
That was Mark Johnston, who just locked up that right rear and dragged his car up. I'll tell you, woof, more tires.
Oh, there's a big one out of the 2 car.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, right now, Dalton Mobley's just trying to put as much distance between himself and Jeremy Miller as he can, and he doesn't care if he rips off that left rear. As they run down the back chute, the double 4, he's going to chase him down through here. That's, oh boy.
Oh
Don't
boy, here comes down to the bottom side, Jeremy Miller. He's able to take advantage of 2 cars getting sideways in front of him. That's a team car in the 44, I believe. Got similar paint schemes, but I might be wrong.
Nope, they are teammates,
yep. 60 car, Rafael Rodriguez, right up to the top side of the 56 of Cody Colley.
A lot of these drivers, and I'm not sure how to quantify it in any other way other than they're driving into these corners way too hard. We're seeing a lot of these cars tighten up on exit from turn 1 and turn 3, and it's really affecting their launch out of 2 and 4. You know, I don't know why they're driving in there as hard as they are, but oh boy, everybody, even cars that we don't usually see getting tight, are getting tighter than tight.
I mean, I talked about the same thing during the Cup race. These guys, this next-gen car, it gives you the opportunity to shift down and get a run coming up off of the corner. So the best way to pass somebody at a track like this, it's so tough to pass. You've got to be able to get down in there, kind of knock them out of the way once they're trying to get to the gas. Once you do that, it gives them a little bit of a flurry of a moment coming up off the corner, and you might be able to get to their inside. With this next-gen car, we lack the opportunity to get to the inside coming up off of the corner unless you can create it. And I tell you what, we're seeing a situation up front with Jacob Schneider trying to chase down RJ Root, trying to create his moment to get around that 69 car. Alex Murray just in front of this thing. I can't say he feels good because it's there's not much of a gap for cars that are racing behind him. Jacob Schneider gets around that 69. I would say you might have to worry in the 22 because it seems like those 2 behind you are a little bit quicker, and the 02 of Jacob Schneider seems to be the quickest car out on the racetrack, and he was actually, as we look past at the last lap times. Cross it again, Schneider quickest on the racetrack with a 1949, the only driver out on the racetrack to be able to get under a 1950. Things heating up front on lap number 99. We've got 30 laps to go left in this stage and 3 cars under a blanket as we get ready to try to race this stage out. Tell you what, Dave, this is what we bargained for.
Yeah, this is why I pick up the phone and send you the text and say, do you want to come along to Martinsville? Because I tell you what, Alex Murray with a rear view mirror full of RJ Root is one nervous driver. In fact, let's see if we can get right up here onto Alex Murray's roof. I'm not sure if we can. Let's see if I can find that one. Let's see if I'll spin this camera around here. There we go.
The camera work here by Dave Regal, our very own here at Sim Racing Media. Super lucky to have him because we can look back. Golly, it doesn't get much closer.
No, right now, RJ Root is getting high on the exhaust fumes.
A little bit of an incident down on the front straightaway, no caution, but you see the slow car right in front. The 89 gets through, gets down to the bottom. A bit of a lockup out of the 33 just in front. Things happening a mile a minute here at Martinsville, and that is actually pretty literal.
Well, let me do some quick math here. At a minute, that's 3 laps. It's a mile and a half a minute.
Things happen faster than we expect.
But riding along here with Alex Murray, I mean, he's navigating very well through the lap traffic. And believe me, I've been someone who has been the lap traffic. That's probably more frustrating than being in this battle right now for the lead, that RJ Root is making the pass here on Alex Murray for the lead. You know, to be
and he's getting followed by the 0-2.
And yeah, that's going to be wholesale passing as they work their way around Matt Mettler. Now down a lap, he will be the lucky dog if the caution came out quick. But, you know, to be the lapped car is almost more frustrating than to be in first place being passed by someone behind you, because you don't want to lock the brakes up and make a mistake and ruin the leader's race.
You really don't. Last thing you want to do is just be a factor in a race that you have no chance of winning. And well, we saw Matt Mettler get out of the way there. He knew he wasn't going to be able to keep those guys behind him, so he just got out of the way. We'll see if the 3 car up in front of these guys, yes, he gets out of the way as well. So a lot of respectful driving here, cautious driving out of the guys towards the back half of the field right now. But I tell you what, we're coming towards 20 laps to go. RJ Root, Jacob Schneider, they've got themselves a hell of a battle going on right now. And in terms of final points paying position, Tanner Marty trying to get up to the back of Mark Johnston for 10th place.
Here is that battle as Johnston trying to hold off Tanner Marty. Marty now looking to the high side. Johnston getting a good jump out of the exit of turn 2. But it looks like we're eventually going to see Marty take him on entry. $110 laps complete tonight out of 500. We're just about, now we are 20 laps away from the conclusion of stage number 1. That'll happen at the end of lap 130. RJ Root, Jacob Schneider, they're 1 and 2. Alex Murray running in 3rd position right now. Ryan Samuelson in 4th. Brandon Edstrom and Jeremy Miller rounding out your top 6. All the way back here to Mark Johnston, as Liam had just mentioned, the last points paying position here in stage number 1, as he's still holding off Tanner Marty. Taking a look here in the youtube.com live chat. Static Speed Shop cheering on Ron Fitting. We'll take a look and see where Ron is right now, as it looks like he is down just a little bit, down a lap, but not the end of the world for him. He can still recover from that, as we're probably going to see a lot more of this through the evening. Drivers, you know, being put that lap down.
Oh, back for the race lead. We've got bumper to bumper action here as RJ Root has Jacob Schneider just, man, I tell you what, he's close enough to hit him, but he's not doing it. These are team cars racing together. He wants to do this clean, but he knows he's quicker. Look at him looking down to the inside as RJ had a bit of a wiggle. RJ tried to hold down that bottom side, getting down into 1, unable to get down to the apex just right, but tell you what, that's 0-2 right behind. He is not taking these mistakes lightly. Tries a little bit wider of an entry, going to try to cut down to the bottom to get a little bit better of an exit, half a car length with 15 laps to go here in stage number 1. This is a phenomenal battle for the stage win, and I tell you what, man, if you're a team owner, you're loving this and hating this. Oh, look at him down to the inside. Oh man, close enough to make the move, but not quite.
I'll tell you what, here's the thing. Schneider's already locked into the playoffs. At this point, if he wants to get his teammate into that round of 4 before next week, excuse me. Bear with me here, my goodness. if he wants to be able to lock his teammate into the round of 4 to challenge him for the championship, he's got to be a little bit defensive of that rear bumper of the 69 and hold the rest of this field off.
He absolutely does, but he has a mirror full and a bumper full of the 02. Now the 02. Jacob Schneider moves down to the inside. Might be a little bit of contact through turns 1 and 2, but I don't think there was. Actually pretty respectful racing down into turns 3 and 4, the outside lane. Just enough for Jacob to get stuck to the inside. They go back down into turn number 1. Still door to door, and now Jacob is going to get the advantage. Jacob Snyder in the 02. Partner clear, gets down into 3, and what a run the 69 puts up on the top side. Not quite enough. Nothing doing there, and put Jacob Schneider as the race leader right now.
Yeah, looking at that from Jacob Schneider's perspective was incredible. And I mean, especially sitting here watching these two drivers digging it out piece by piece. In fact, I'm going to try to get right here to the gyro cam of RJ so we can see what he can see from inside the cockpit. I mean, right now you can see at that car, he's not overdriving it that much. It looks like he's probably saving more tires than everybody else, having come down on 78. But right now they've got Chris Claude in the crosshairs as Claude about to be the next car a lap down.
Dave, I love that gyro cam at almost every track, right? I love it at the plate tracks because it shows you just how much banking these guys are dealing with. But this track, I love it especially because it shows you how little banking these guys have to work with and how much force is on these drivers as they work through each and every one of these corners. Obviously, this is a sim racing service, so these guys don't have to deal with the G-force. But when you talk about Cup racing, Xfinity racing, racing drivers, everything that these guys have to deal with, you get a first-hand experience right here of how aggressive people can take these corners and get out of them. Don't forget to think about the force that goes behind each and every one of these corners, because it can be up to 1,000 pounds of force at the midpoint of the Martinsville corner.
No, and you know, that's something interesting to talk about because it's a lot more side force than it is being pushed down in your seat. You know, on a super speedway, you take that turn and you can feel that push you down into your seat and really secure you in the cockpit. But here, it's just like maybe taking a turn a little bit too hard on the way to work in the morning, and maybe your coffee goes skittering across the dashboard.
Yeah, except for if a gorilla threw your coffee at you. Oh, as RJ Root has a big problem there. He must have... did he go around or did he... Well, let's take a look to see here. RJ Root, he was sitting up in the top 3, chasing down his teammate. Just lost the lead to his teammate, rather, Jacob Schneider. Lap car in front of him. Let's see what happens. A little bit of contact. Down on the curb. Goes around. Able to get away okay before the caution came out, but we've got ourselves a lap and a half to go in the stage. Jacob Schneider able to take the lead away from his teammate. He's got himself 1 lap to go before he gets himself another playoff point, 10 extra points.
As Schneider goes down the backstretch, we want to keep in mind that the stage will end once 10th place comes across the line. So, of course, right now we're going to be waiting for Tanner Marty, who was nearly put a lap down.
And the caution is actually out. Anyway. John Wildo and Ryan Samuelson involved in an incident.
We'll take a look at my fellow statesman, John Wilco from McAdoo, Pennsylvania. Of course, I am very good friends with the fire chief in McAdoo and his brother, who happens to be the fire chief in Hazleton, Pennsylvania. The Leshko brothers, great guys. They watch us here on Sim Racing Media. Of course, they also tune into the Magic Polka Machine on my other job. Oh, my! That's not the way you wanted to end stage 1.
Now, nosed into the fence. Hopefully he's able to get his lap back, but here comes the race leaders into the pits.
We'll get a hold of Jacob Schneider here on the radio. And then I'll babble on about the middle of nowhere and the magic polka machine. Hey, Jacob, it's Dave up in the booth. You got me?
I sure do. How's it going, Dave?
Hey, man, listen, congratulations on the Stage 1 win here. You were really battling it out. Take us through these last few laps as you got around RJ.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure to do it clean, being a teammate and just being the first stage. And I'm locked in, but he's not, so I just wanted to be careful around RJ. So I took my time.
Yeah, that's exactly what Liam and I were talking about, during that battle. I mean, you've got your teammate who's not locked in. Now he gets shuffled back further in the field, but, you were absolutely being a great teammate getting around clean.
Yeah, I try to be a clean driver to everybody. I make mistakes, but overall, I pride myself to be pretty clean.
Well, man, listen, what are you thinking about, any adjustments here as we get into Stage 2, or are you just going to keep moving?
No, I did no adjustments. I think I've got the dominant car in the long run, so I'm going to leave it alone.
All right, my man. Well, listen, congratulations once again. And, of course, over at our YouTube.com live chat, we've got all kinds of people cheering for everybody. So make sure that you get some folks tuned in here and eyeballs on this race.
All right, will do. Thank you, guys.
And by all means, that is an absolute shout out to you guys in the chat. Let us know who your favorite driver is. We'll absolutely get them up on the screen. I tell you what, we love nothing more than the support of our drivers here out on the racetrack. And it is so much fun to see how many people come up in here and join us to support your favorite drivers, whether it be your kid, your family, or maybe your friend. We love to see you guys join us in the chat. So, A, let us know you're there, and B, let us know who we should look for.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, a lot of these drivers, and it looks like we'll have a few extra moments here. Let's see if we can pull up the 44 of Sean Rogers. Let's see where he might be. There's the 44. He's in the JGR stable. Hey, Sean, it's Dave and Liam up in the booth. You got about a half a lap. Listen, Amanda Price is in there giving you the business in the YouTube.com live chat. What say you?
What she got anything good to say about me?
Well, she's cheering you on, so at least that means that she's not mad at you. Maybe you won't sleep on the couch tonight.
Perfect. That's all I can hope for. Shout out to her, and thanks for watching.
All right, brother man. Good luck when you go green.
Appreciate it.
Absolutely awesome stuff. Nobody knows their drivers better than Dave. As we get ready for this restart here, Jacob Schneider getting ready to lead them down. Coming to the green flag. He takes the inside lane and a commanding... Oh, we got problems up on the top side. The caution's going to come out. The 30 car did not get going. Jeremy Miller with a terrible, horrible, no good, very bad restart there. Looked like he might have spun the tires, and the car behind him just got up into the back of him. A horrible way to start up stage number 2. Let's go ahead and take a look, see what happened. He's got that Superflow 56 just behind him.
Here comes the restart. We see Schneider take off.
Oh, wow.
Oh, my.
Yeah. I don't know if that's a misshift or what, but somehow or another he spun the tires, got turned up towards the walls. And
Now I'm going to run this back here right now, and we'll see. We'll go right here into the cockpit and see if we can't figure it out. Maybe from this perspective, Liam?
Oh, we'll take a look. We can see gear 1. Nope, shifted up into 2 and just he spun the tires, couldn't get them under him.
Well, that's not the way that you want to start stage 2.
No, not at all.
I mean, I'm not an expert, but I'll take a look.
I mean, there's a reason we're up here and not down there.
Listen, once upon a time, this was the only league that I raced in anymore on a Sunday night, and these drivers showed me exactly where I belonged, and it was all the way up here. We're going to take a look here and see if we can get a hold of Brandon Edstrom, of course, fan favorite of Deb Harris. Let's see where Brandon is here.
PRB.
Hey, Brandon, it's Dave up in the booth. You got me?
Yes, sir. How's it going?
Listen, we're good. Liam and I are here tonight keeping an eye on things, but I'll tell you what, that was the closest of close calls there with the 30.
Yeah, it's one of those things where there's like 4 or 5 different scenarios where I could be not in the Final Four tonight. And like I said over the race radio, I'm not rooting against anybody, but at the same time, it's a sigh of relief. You know, RJ, he's 27 points back, or at least was. He could win here easily. Jeremy's been fast. I feel like I have better long run pace than him, but you know, he's just spun on that restart, and they're not my teammates in here. They're like a technical alliance, but you know, they're my teammates Monday through Saturday. So I hate to see bad for them, but at the same time, you know, my team doesn't exist right now. It's for me, and I'm just trying to win a championship.
Absolutely. Listen, you know, there's a point in every season where eventually you're out for your own. It's your championship to win.
Oh yeah, I'm racing for myself. If my teammate's in front of me with 2 to go and I have a shot, I'm moving them out of the way. So you'll hear about it next week. If tensions are rising, it'll be a storyline for you guys. I'll keep you guys updated.
All right, brother man. Listen, good luck.
All right, thanks, brother.
Well, Liam, that is one of our fan favorites, Brandon Edstrom, of course. His mom, Deb Harris, tunes in every week. She was, of course, a big fan of the late great one. As we are back underway, Jacob Schneider hauls it down into turn 1. He's not the least bit phased about what's going on behind him. The 60 of Rafael Rodriguez holding up the rest of the line. Cody Colley trying to get around him, and now it looks like maybe the 60 finally warming up here, trying to get through and see exactly what can go on here. Maybe getting around the 80 of Mark Johnston.
Yeah, we'll see if he can get the job done up on the top side. Not an easy entry there for him, but he's going to actually go ahead and lose the spot to Sean Rogers. Rafael Rodriguez goes back another one. Yeah, we take a look at Mark Johnston sitting here in the top 5. He's got a couple of guys right up on his rear bumper. Mark Johnston, he's had himself a phenomenal race up in the top 10 through most of it. Now he leaves the inside open. Here comes the 44 of Sean Rogers to the inside. He's going to let that go. Sean Rogers back up in the top 5 now.
You know, there's got to be a point in the race where even as a driver you think, all right, he's going to get around me, but I'm going to get back at him. I mean, you know, there's no reason to get yourself bent out of shape, you know, with so many laps left to go as we're here on lap 146 of 500, working our way toward lap 260. So we're still a ways off from the end of stage 1, so about 100 laps to go. I'm sorry, stage 2. Several drivers putting it on the hauler tonight already. Matt Mentler and Steve Herring among them, with Nathaniel Spomer putting the 55. Whoa! Who is that on the inside?
On the inside.
Couldn't see who that was. It always happens when I look away from the race screen itself that something else happens.
How it works that way. We've got Sean Rogers sitting in 4th place now. We watched him take a top 5 spot. He's got Alex Murray and Brandon Edstrom just in front of him. Less than half a second in front of him. Tell you what, man, this guy is absolutely on rails right now, and he's looking forward, not backwards, looking forward to the top 3, maybe even at grabbing the race lead before this stage is over. Got a long way to go before then, though. Schneider leads the race. Brandon Edstrom sitting in 2nd place. And there's Sean Rogers. We talked about him just a moment ago. He's chasing these guys down. Just behind him, Mark Johnston. We also talked about him sitting in 5th place right now. Got a mirror full of Rafael Rodriguez. We saw him with a slower moment there, a little bit of a jumble up. he had to recover from. He's done a good job keeping it in 6th place.
All these
Still
drivers.
in-
Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say still in 6th place, still in position for stage points. As around goes Ryan
There goes the
Samuelson
81 of
coming
Ryan
up off of turn
Samuelson.
number 4.
That's Samuelson around, and I'll tell you what, as we're going to pull up that replay here, I do want to say it's always interesting when I get to watch some of these drivers, and when we talk to some of their fans in the YouTube.com live chat. In fact, even tonight, I know that my little fella, my Bubba, is out there watching us tonight, and I mean, you know, you see some of the next generation of drivers, or hopefully broadcasters, especially if he's got my skill at driving, you know, out here watching us. Oh, yeah. Samuelson just runs the rear end around. You know, last week and the last few weeks, he's had Hoka as his paint scheme. He's switched that up, so obviously he needs some grip there. But my Bubba's out there watching us. Hey, buddy, I love you. And listen, we're going to watch this race restart.
Race restart coming our way, but I'm going to go ahead and be astute, bring in Ryan Samuelson. You got a moment with us. It's Liam and Dave up at the booth. Hey, Ryan Samuelson, you got a copy?
Yeah, unfortunately.
So, obviously, not an ideal situation to bring you in here. You got turned around there, but walk us through your race so far. And I mean, you've been strong in that 81 machine.
We've been strong up until I decided to lose some talent. Hit the wall again, spin out. It's been a race.
You've got plenty of time to go, 340 plus laps. You have a recovery plan, or you got?
I'm sorry, I didn't get any of what you said. My crew chief was going.
Sorry, microphone is bad, but well, you've got 340 some laps to go here before, you know, the checkered flag is drawn. Do you have a recovery strategy, or?
No, we don't. It's full throttle with a little bit of break here. We'll see what happens. I don't have the brightest idea what's going to happen, but something's going to happen. I can't confirm it's going to be good or not.
Thank you very much, Ryan, for your time. We'll let you get back to your team.
As Ryan gets himself off a pit road here, he gets out just ahead of the iRacing.com pace car, so he's not going to lose another lap. So that's not going to be a bad thing for him. That should put him pretty high up here on the lap down drivers. And I mean, that list, you would think that it continues to grow as we're going to pull up the timing tower. But these drivers tonight have managed to keep themselves on the lead lap for a long time. You know, unlike some of the races that we've seen at Martinsville, where it seems like all of a sudden there's only 5 guys left on the lead lap.
Yeah, I tell you what, we've still got, I believe, 12 drivers on the lead lap. Maybe, yeah, 12 drivers are still on the lead lap after 157 laps are completed. That is something to be said about this league and just how competitive these guys are. Tell you what, though, we've got another restart. That pace car made that hard left turn.
We're going to turn it up right now on Sim Racing Media as we go into the Geico restart zone, and away we go.
Imagine a theater experience so real you're part of the action. Breakthrough technology that shakes your seat at precisely the right moment so you can feel the action on the screen. Choose 4D Cinemas powered by Butt Kicker for the ultimate theater experience. And for the ultimate in movies, gaming, and sports at home, add your own Butt Kicker. A simple, wireless, affordable device that takes just seconds to install. Text the word on the screen right now to receive a special offer. Get Butt Kicker and feel what you've been missing.
Welcome back to Martinsville Speedway as we are under caution again. We'll take a look right here at Dalton Mobley. Liam, take us through this.
Dalton Mobley in the 2-car behind Chris Cloud here. You're going to see him get through turns 1 and 2 plenty fine. Going to have a run coming up down the back straightaway. Where you're going to see.
We're going to watch the whole rear end of this car step out right here.
Wow.
A little pirouette down the front stretch. Fortunately, he did that all by his lonesome, so nothing major there as he gets back underway as he lets Ken Ron on by in the GoPro Chevrolet. Mass X's on pit road. Looks like Rafael Rodriguez and Chris Claude. Chris Claude cycled up to the top as he stayed out. So that's an interesting choice. Something that I don't get to say very often. Chris Claude leads this race as he follows the iRacing.com pace car.
tactically an interesting choice. We've got 80 laps left in this stage as these guys cross the line this next time. Anybody up front who stayed out gonna be able to make it to the end of the stage. Chris Claude's last pit came at lap 138. Behind him, 154 from Mark Johnston, and it looks like we've got pit stops happening behind as the lap cars come into the pits. But Mark Johnston in that 80 car is to be about 18 lap pressure tires behind Chris Cloud up front.
You know what? This just brings up an exciting opportunity to talk to good old Chris. So I'm going to move him on down here. Hey, Chris, it's Dave and Liam up in the booth. You got us.
Hey, Dave.
How many times
I was doing something, and yeah.
Well,
What's up, man?
Say Chris is going to lead us back to green.
Right. Yeah, I know. It's not very commonplace, that's for sure. But I had no reason to pit, so why not?
Well, you know, here's the thing that I want to bring up quick. We're here in the second to last week of the 2023 Cup season, and man, what a season you guys have had here in this league. You know, I just want to congratulate you on all of the hard work that you put in this season, and Liam and I are just excited to be able to work together tonight to watch you lead this race.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to listening to you guys tomorrow on the broadcast. I'm watching it right now, but I have to keep the sound down just so I can kind of keep everything in perspective and not get too distracted.
Well, shoot, Chris, this is where I cut my teeth, and I'm super happy to have you here, but we're getting ready for a restart. We're going to have to send you back to your team.
As he goes on back up there, you know, something that just kind of dawned on me here. You and I figured out that we were good for drinking partners, and it turns out that we're also good for broadcast partners.
You know, one thing leads to the other. We've got a phenomenal restart there. Had a Mark Johnston up on the top side, but he goes way wide. Now here comes the 44 through the middle. The caution comes out immediately. Something not right with that start. Potentially a spin out at the tail end of the field. We'll take a look, see what happened here. It's the 60 car.
All kinds of action here on timing and scoring on our replay controls. Rafael Rodriguez pops up in red, as well as Jeremy Miller, Dalton Mobley, and Tanner Marty. So we might have a lot to run through here.
Big checkup on the inside. Nobody got going.
No, you know, it's interesting. Earlier I was talking about John Wilco from McAdoo, Pennsylvania. Of course, they're covered by 105.5 WMGH, my other little microphone gig. And of course, every Sunday we have the Magic Polka Machine with Polka Joe, and they just accordion themselves like an accordion. Oh, right here on the front stretch, clearing out the back quarter of the field.
A little bit more contact there as the 10 moves back. But, we talked to Chris Claude a little bit before that caution came out, and, you know, I know you gave him a lot of props for doing this league, but I also got to give him a little bit of props myself, because this is the league. Oh, yeah, as we see what happened there on the restart. This is the league where I kind of cut my teeth, you know. This is where I learned the basics. This is, you know, one of the... Well, we got a restart coming up here. We'll talk sentimental later. We've got... Oh, still replay. Sorry.
Just taking a look at this from one more perspective, because that was just... I'd say it's a thing of beauty, but it's definitely not beautiful. As we're on the 11th caution of the evening, Chris Claude going to be starting in P2 this time around. Looks like the free pass going to go to Tanner Marty.
Lights still on the pace car, so see how it goes. That 29 up in front of your race leader of Mark Johnston. He's going to be able to get around that waiver out.
You know, it's interesting that you should say that this is where you cut your teeth here in the broadcast booth. This league happened to be where I cut my teeth with iRacing overall. Back in 2021, I got involved with the Truck Series, and of course the great Bob Nestor, who wound up winning the Truck Series that season. And that kind of birthed the Independence Racing Network that used to broadcast the Xfinity Series, and then I got involved with James and John and everybody here at Sim Racing Media. And of course, then 2 years after that, here we are going to Miami together, and now we're finally sitting together in this same league.
Yeah, we've had ourselves a phenomenal, what should I say, comeuppance. But we've got ourselves a phenomenal restart just in front of us. Chris Claude takes the outside over Mark Johnston, Alex Murray, Sean Rogers, Cody Colley, Brandon Edstrom, RJ Root, Jacob Schneider, Tanner Marty round out the lead lap cars. The inside lane with a major advantage with the restart zone rule. Here comes the 80 car with a big, and we're crashing again. Around goes Chris Claude. The 44 got turned sideways and got into Chris Claude.
Now, I'm no expert, but I'm pretty sure Sean Rogers is angry.
44 got turned sideways first. You might have to take a blimp look at that to decipher what happened.
Let's see if we can pull up that beautiful bean footage. There it is.
So it looks like the 44 got going quicker than the 80 in front of him. And when he checked up, he got hit.
And he got hit hard from behind.
Yeah, that's a rough one, man.
Yeah, there was not much that could be done. Now, oddly enough, that cycles Chris Claude into what would be the free pass. And of course, I don't know if you're listening to it, but I've got race radio running in my headphones, and
Chris Claude is on the lead lap. He is in front of your race leader, Mark Johnston. He is not a free pass contender. He is back on the lead lap. He should be able to get around this pace car.
Yeah, this is interesting. This is that time where electronic timing and scoring can be a pain in the tuchus.
Probably going to get the regular wave around rule. Unless they all come into pit this time. Then he's got to beat him off the pit lane. Oh, he's going to pit.
All right, so he's going to go down a lap. That'll leave Mark Johnston alone atop the pile here. He last came down on lap 154. Edstrom, Murray, Root, Colley, and Schneider all came down on 178. And Rafael Rodriguez is going to have the freshest tires in that top 10, last coming down on 187. Want to welcome everybody into the Tony Trapasso Memorial Broadcast booth. Dave Regal and Liam Ervig with you tonight. And, of course, want to welcome everybody into the live chat. Static Speed Shop cheering on Ron Fitting, Deb Harris. It looks like, yep. I got to say, Deb Harris has got to be one of the best people that I've ever dealt with here in the live chat. She is just, we appreciate the kind words every week. And, she kind of reminds me of the Western States Racing League, which, of course, was my first show here on Sim Racing Media. And it's just, she reminds me of some of the folks over there, and it's just great to have her with us. As we're working lap 194 under the 12th caution, the 11th caution for cause. Of course, the other caution being brought out for the end of stage number 1. So as we work 194, just over 300 to go. This night gets longer and longer sometimes as you look at it. It's 9 o'clock here on the East Coast. Let's see if we can make some green flag runs here as Mark Johnson gets us back underway. He hauls it down into turn 1 while Alex Murray and Brandon Edstrom get out the hammer and tongs to decide who's going to take P2.
And already getting single file up in the top 4, almost a bump. 22 goes up the racetrack. He's going to lose second place, potentially third, as the 69 RJ Root tries to get down to the inside. He does. And now the 02 tries to follow suit, try to figure out which lane he wants to go. But I tell you what, Mark Johnston has not gotten any sort of reprimand, no sort of reprieve. He has a full rear bumper full of that 74. Here comes the 74 down to the inside. Contact door to door there as Brandon Edstrom takes the race lead in commanding fashion.
Now keep an eye on RJ Root as he's going to start sniffing the rear bumper of Brandon Edstrom. Edstrom was getting a heck of a run on the 80, but the whole time RJ Root it was almost like we were watching him load up and shoot himself out of a cannon, as now he's going to get on that left rear quarter panel of the 74. He's got himself right in there. He's going to knife his way through into turn number 3. They touch, they rub, but remember, Rubbin's Racing, as these 3 drivers all on the same team, going to be vying for the same position.
I tell you what, big lock up there out of the 74 up on the top side. I was going to ask, where do you go with the 02? But that call was made incredibly clear with that big lockup out of the 74 of Brandon Edstrom. Now you go ahead and put the 02 of Jacob Schneider into second place, able to chase down his teammate RJ Root. And big lockup once there again out of the 74. That's going to allow the 22 to his inside. Alex Murray trying to take away third place. He's going to do it. Going to get clear. Here comes the 44 of Sean Rogers. Now, as you can see that 24 or 74 rather on the top side, just getting shuffled out to dry. Now he's back into 5th place after racing for the race lead. RJ Root leads over Jacob Schneider, Alex Murray, Sean Rogers, and Brandon Edstrom. You watch now, but here's a pass for the race lead as Jacob Schneider gets down to the inside.
Schneider makes the pass over RJ, and I'll tell you what, if I was these drivers, I'd be pretty nervous now that Edstrom has gone single file behind Sean Rogers in the 44. I mean, at this stage in the race, to have somebody as talented as Edstrom on my rear, able to pick me off one by one, this is where he is most dangerous. You know, we're going to watch him start to work over Sean Rogers. He's going to find that little bit of a seam and be able to throw it down underneath and make the pass.
Getting right up to the back bumper at that 44 right in front of him. Sean Rogers in the 44 doing a phenomenal job just working his way up through this traffic. Sits up in 4th place. Brandon Edstrom, rather, who was leading this race, might have used up a little bit too much of tires. He is one of the goers at this stage in the race. We've still got 55 laps before we get to the end of stage 2. So these guys know they've got a guaranteed caution coming their way, along with whatever might happen on this racetrack, Dave. Absolutely. Taking a look right now, John Wilco showing up as having had an issue. We'll see what happened. He was running all alone down the front chute. He runs out of 1 and 2, and let's see where he had his troubles. And I'm going to guess dollars to donuts. This is going to be on the caution has just come out. Brandon Edstrom has crashed.
Oh, for crying out loud. This isn't what we want to see. There's Wilco's wreck, and now we're going to watch Edstrom, and hopefully we didn't put the broadcaster's curse on that Kavorka, if you will. We see Edstrom here. Everybody having trouble on that exit out of 4. He rubs the wall, crosses the start-finish line. No, I'm afraid this time. Oh, man, got in there a little bit too aggressive, got turned sideways. Props to him for being able to keep it off of the wall, but he is going to lose a lap here. You know, you'd say that it's really scary to lose a lap, but at a place like Martinsville, we've got enough cautions in the bank that the chances of him getting back out there and getting on the lead lap again are pretty favorable, if you will. They are, but we've only got, I believe, the top 10 on the lead lap right now, so... 21 drivers in this race, more than half of them are a lap down. If you're on the lead lap, you do not want to be caught up in that group. It's going to be tough to overcome. Not impossible, but definitely tough. Well, we're going to pull up the pit strategy here with these other drivers. Now, the top 4 all have 29 laps since their last stop. Actually, the top 5 all 29 laps since their last stop as they cross over to 30. Looks like Cody Colley had the longest run on a set of tires with 119 laps. But everybody else, you can see, this kind of looks like a mess. Usually we see a lot more straight lines. but it just appears, in fact, RJ has the most amount of pit stops in this group here at the top 5.
He definitely does, and we're 200 laps into this 500 lap race. Nobody seems to be pushing any sort of limits on their tires. But we're also seeing as looks like this might be the choose for the top 2 drivers. It's stay on the pace cars, so not quite yet.
Still a 75-degree track temperature. What does that do for your grip, Liam?
I don't know, man. That's kind of middle level. It's not outrageously hot, so you can be a little bit more aggressive, but you've got a lot of sunlight on this racetrack, not a lot of shade, so it takes a little bit away. I don't know. I feel like 75 degrees as a track temp, that's something you can be comfortable with, but when you run as many laps as you do at Martinsville, it gets to be tough to be comfortable with anything.
Comfortable was definitely the word that I was looking for there. I mean, 75 degrees is a nice day, whether you're sitting on the back porch enjoying a cold beverage, or if you're out here on the racetrack, you have to figure the more uncomfortable it is for you to be sitting around relaxing is the more uncomfortable it is to be racing on that asphalt.
Well, we're going to have 21 drivers show us what's up here with less than 300 laps to go. Coming to the restart, Jacob Schneider up on the top side. He elected that lane. He's got RJ Root to his inside. Green flag back in the air and a phenomenal restart up on the top side. RJ's going to be able to get clear for second. And we're side by side for third as Sean Rogers tries to keep Alex Murray behind him. Unable to do so at the moment. Murray dives it in deep. Going to try to slide up. No, he doesn't slide up. He just completes that pass. 1, 2, 3. It's Schneider, Root, Murray, Rogers in fourth, Cody Colley in fifth.
Like synchronized swimming, the 44 just slid right behind Alex Murray, and that was a thing of beauty. I mean, not too many drivers able to do that without clipping the driver in front, but fortunately...
Denny Hamlin couldn't do it today. He clipped Blaney trying to do that same move.
He could not. You know what, though? Denny Hamlin does not remind me of a finesse driver, if you will. If he's leading, he's fine. But if he's got to slide one in there, he's usually kind of like a heavy hand.
Denny Hamlin, top 3 mental drivers in the game right now. Didn't get it done today, but he knows what he's doing 90% of the time. He is one of, if not the best, at putting himself in a good mental situation. And I say that as a guy who I've seen Denny Hamlin win many races that I have rooted for the other guy.
I find myself rooting again.
Casey
Whoa!
Contact wrong! Goes Mark Johnston.
I think they just went to Dairy Queen land. They did. They went to Dairy Queen.
Oh, on the chat, somebody said, "Come on, Mark."
And that was the last we heard of them before the ship sank below the water.
Caution out once again here on lap number 217 out of 500. Lots of cautions early on in this race, but nothing major enough to really take drivers out, which is a blessing for some of these guys who have had to deal with a little bit of adversity.
Yeah, I unfortunately believe that Johnston and Edstrom just went and got themselves disqualified due to incident points. And folks, to bring you up to speed, this league uses a 17X as their basically their Maginot line, if you will. If you get too many incident points here on the racetrack, timing and scoring will boot you, and unfortunately, I believe that's what just happened to Brandon Edstrom and Mark Johnston.
Listening to drivers, they're really hopeful for some green flag running coming up here.
Well,
We've,
now you've been in the public forums, of course, over the years. Don't you find yourself thinking, once you get through a lot of the quote-unquote, trash or the wrecks or however you want to talk about it, whatever adjective you should choose, don't you think that at some point all of the people who were kind of a risk factor should now be out of the race?
Yeah, that's what you can hope for. We've got 9 drivers on the lead lap, and a couple of them trying to get back on there. But looking at the state of the field, it looks like we've only got 10 drivers back out on the racetrack right now after Brandon Edstrom, Mark Johnston got disqualified for the incident points. Can't see anybody else who's trying to get back onto the racetrack, so we should be left with just 10 cars on the racetrack. And, that just might fit into what you were talking about, Dave, trying to get out some of these guys who are just a little bit extra.
Yeah, at this stage in the race, with Jacob Schneider and RJ Root in the front row, it's time for everybody else to just, for lack of a better term, for those of us that grew up in that early 2000s, it's time to know your role, jabroni, and get in line.
And shut your mouth. Yep. Well,
I didn't think I was going to be rolling that one out.
We've got about 10 drivers here who know their role. Not to say that the other ones didn't, but they're unfortunately not here at this stage in the game. We've got ourselves a restart coming our way. The outside is the lane that the leader chose. That's Jacob Schneider over RJ Root. Alex Murray, Sean Rogers, Tanner Marty gets himself up into the top 5. Getting up into the Geico restart zone. Green flag is out, and a phenomenal restart out of your race leader. Jacob Schneider gets away by about 2 car lengths over the second place car, RJ Root.
Everybody behind him getting single file real quick, except for Jeremy Miller, who's out here as if he's driving for his life, and he is to some degree as he gets around Ryan Samuelson, who's loose coming out of 4. Samuelson holding it together. Some smoke coming out of the 29. That's Tanner Marty as he's got another lockup. I'll tell you what, we've seen that a lot tonight. These drivers have got to figure out how to loosen the car up in the corner, and that's the only way to do that at a place like Martinsville is to brake earlier. Allow your car to float down there into each turn and get full rotation, because otherwise all you're going to do is see what Tanner Marty's got going on, where he's tightening up on every entry.
Tough deal. You see him locking up the brakes just a little bit there, and it's a sideways moment. They're just in front of these guys. They stay green. Looks like RJ Root. Yeah, RJ Root loses a ton of spots. Got sideways coming up off of turn number 4. Not entirely sure what happened to him. We might have to go back and take a look, but it just goes to show how aggressive these guys are. But at the same time, I was doing my best to listen to these guys talking, and they know exactly where they're at. They know that they're less than halfway. They know that there's a lot of guys taken out of this race. Take a look to see here what happened to RJ Root. Caution flag has just come out. We'll take a look at what happened to RJ Root and get you guys updated. RJ sideways on his own. The caution has come out for Jeremy Miller, Rafael Rodriguez, and RJ Root might be involved in this one as well.
We're going to see what happened here with Jeremy Miller in the 30 as he hauls it down here into 3, just behind Tanner Marty, just ahead of Ryan Samuelson. He gets himself spun out.
Oh, he touched the curb.
Uh-oh. He just disappeared. Jeremy Miller just sent to Dairy Queen.
I wonder if he immediately hit the button to reset to pit lane.
There's no way that he went there. Let's see. Let's see if I can find him. Jeremy Miller. Nope. He is no longer being scored.
That an alt F4. Oh, we're not allowed to say that, are we? Alt F4. So an apparent mechanical issue.
I mean, to be fair, this is Sunday Night NASCAR. This is my show, my seat, my booth, and you can say whatever you darn sure please.
And that looked like an Alta Ford to me. He just got out of the way, tried to not be a caution, ended up being a caution, but looked like he was just.
See. I think that he disappeared too fast because he wasn't done. He wasn't done moving when he disappeared. I'll tell you what, folks. As many times as I talk about the safety that these drivers, command their vehicles with every week, this is probably the most amount of cars that I've seen get disqualified due to incident points than I've seen all season long.
I mean, it is Martinsville. It's a lot tougher to keep yourself off of somebody, especially with this style of racing being as tough as it is to pass. It's really tough to not hit somebody.
I've argued in the past as a driver that at places like Martinsville or road courses or extreme short tracks like this, that we need to extend the number of incident points because it takes away from some of the racing ability. I believe it was Darrell Waltrip that said Rubbin's racing, and he wouldn't be wrong. But in a place in a situation like iRacing, and the way that incidents are scored, it puts these drivers somewhat at a disadvantage to be as competitive as they can be.
Yeah, obviously these guys aren't faced with the same type of aerodynamic loss that the Cup guys are faced with here, but it's really, really tough to pass at a short track. And when you put together this aero package where things get to be a little bit more aerodynamic than they are supposed to be, it's really tough to get up on the corner or out of the corner and set up a pass on somebody. So that leaves contact as the only way to get it done. And, well, let's be real, this league does not take contact too well. So it's a catch-22 as we catch ourselves a restart here coming up off of turn number 4. Jacob Schneider going to lead over Alex Murray, Ryan Samuelson, Cody Colley. Green flag is in the air and a strong restart once again up on the top lane.
Now, just as an aside, as I'm looking here at our timing tower on the left-hand side of your screen, folks, there are 9 cars left on the track. We have more than half this race to go. Chris Claude, the last car on the lead lap, is also the last car being scored, period. Jeremy Miller, currently sitting in 10th position, is going to get a free bonus point at the end of stage 2 just because he ended in 10th position.
Just goes to show you the attrition level of this type of race. It doesn't matter where you start, you could still find yourself in a position to get a stage point, especially when there's only 20 guys that showed up, as a caution seems to have come out.
Nope.
No
We're
caution.
Stay green.
RJ Root with another spin stays green. Let's take a look to see what happened here going into turns 3 and 4.
RJ looked like he may be kind of frustrated, especially after being shuffled all the way back to 8th now, as he was side by side with the 56 of Cody Colley. Gets himself around
and he
Colley.
loses it all on his own. Gets to almost a stop, but a good save there by RJ Root.
Back here live, RJ running in 8th position now, just ahead of Chris Claude, who's perfectly content at this point, holding on to 9th, as although Chris is out of the playoff picture, he's still going to nab himself an easy top 10 finish tonight. Of course, I say easy, but at this point, let's take a look at Chris's vehicle here, at his Camry, and I'll tell you what, it's a pretty clean Camry. I mean, maybe a little wrinkle-dinkle here on the front, but otherwise fairly clean.
Yeah, but Chris has done himself a good job of keeping himself out of the incident, not getting a lot of points for that. He's able to run out here with a little bit of a damaged car because of that. We look at Ryan Samuelson machine in 3rd place right now. He's another driver that we've definitely seen involved in a couple of incidents, but doing pretty good, sitting here in 3rd place. He's Oh, caution flag is back out on the racetrack.
So we're going to take a peek here at Rafael Rodriguez. Ooh. My fat fingers failed me here. They were just dancing so lightly above the Elgato Stream Deck and then decided to mash 2 buttons at once. Taking a look at Rafael Rodriguez out of Curitiba. He's loose coming down the front stretch, could not bring it back under control and just dirt tracked his way through 1. Narrowly escaping disaster was RJ Root. In fact, I want to run this back right here and look at this through RJ's prism of vision, because I'll tell you what, at that point, RJ was probably having himself a good old-fashioned Code Brown in the front seat here. We're going to go right to the gyro cam. No, we're going to go right here to the cockpit now of RJ. And after that, that's also going to disqualify Rafael Rodriguez, as that was his second at-fault penalty of the evening.
Then there were 8.
And then there were 8. Well then, I guess we should run through the top 8 or top 7. No, Tanner Marty's going to come back out. Jacob Schneider going to be our race leader, followed by Alex Murray, Ryan Samuelson, Sean Rogers, Cody Cawley, RJ Root, Chris Claude, and when he gets off of pit road, Tanner Marty in the 29. Nice little mix of manufacturers here. 5 Ford Mustangs, 3 Chevrolet Camaros, and 1 Toyota Camry, and a partridge in a pear tree.
Sorry. Jacob Schneider continues to lead this race. Got about 15 laps to go, I believe, at the restart. These guys come to the end of stage 2. How aggressive are they going to be? Talking about a guy like Alex Murray, Ryan Samuelson. How aggressive are these guys going to be trying to take this stage win?
I'll tell you what, at this point, after watching all of the aggression on the racetrack, if I were them, I'd be driving like I had Mike Lindell's My Pillow under the throttle. Or maybe just get myself some Giza Dream Sheets and throw them over the top 5. Just some light product placement, letting Mike Lindell know that he's more than welcome to sponsor Sim Racing Media.
Yeah, as somebody who's watched his business fall, got a spot here. We've got a restart coming our way, though. Jacob Schneider going to lead Alex Murray to the race, or to the green flag here. Going to be 15 laps to go in stage number 2. Just 8 drivers out on the racetrack here still with us. That means a lot of points are still up for grabs. Green flag is out. Jacob Schneider super strong up on the top side. He's going to be able to get a car length lead coming up off of turn number 2. They're side by side for 3rd place, though, as here comes the 44 of Sean Rogers to the top side of Ryan Samuelson.
Samuelson looking for Rogers to get out of his way, whether he goes in front or behind. He wants to be able to swing that 81 from the bottom of the top and use all of that momentum to boogie around this joint. As he finally does get around Rogers for 4th position, that's going to turn this into a 3-way battle now for 4th, as RJ Root starting to get in here. But don't look now, Sean Rogers using the nose of that like a V-plow, as if he's working for the DOT, to get back around Samuelson. Samuelson getting out of the way now of RJ Root.
Well, that's something that we haven't really thought about, is that these guys using their front bumper could get them incident points. If that gets them an incident point, you've got to worry about the potential of a disqualification. We've seen plenty of drivers be caught up in that. And, well, there's only 8 of us left so far. This battle up front heating up. But that's definitely something that these guys have to consider is the incident point limit. You can't be too aggressive getting into somebody. You can't risk getting a 4X trying a bump and run. You've got to make every single one of your bumps count.
You know, at that rate, as I'm thinking about using the front bumper here, that could put Chris Claude up into the race lead. He's driven a pretty clean race overall. I'd be curious to see how many X's he has, and perhaps maybe they're living in Texas. But, you know, that could really be good. See what I did there? That could really put Chris Claude into a top 5 position, as he has driven so safe all night long with everybody else beating and banging against one another here at Martinsville. I'm Dave Riegel. He's Liam Ervik. Right here in the Tony Trapasso Memorial Broadcast booth. This is the Xfinity 500 in the Stacy Strong Cup Series right here on Sim Racing Media. We want to thank you for making us a part of your evening. Right now, watching this two-car battle out for the lead, Jacob Schneider and Alex Murray trying to duke it out to see who's going to bring home the Stage 2 green and white checkered flag, as we're on lap 253 of 500, finally past the halfway point in tonight's race, as it looks like once again Schneider going to get the edge over Murray.
It's really tough in these next-gen cars to get a run coming up off of the corner if you're the trailing car, and you're seeing that out of the 22. He's diving it in, trying to get as close as he possibly can coming up out of the corner, but once that 0-2 in front of him gets to the gas, it's really tough for him to be able to make up time. He's closing in that gap. It's half a car length coming up off, now almost a car length going into turn 3. Man, this is gonna be a tough pass to make without making a little bit of contact, unless you got more patience than I do. But you've got 3 laps to go when you come to the line. 3 laps to go in this stage. You're gonna want everything you can get. Jeez, man, these guys are bumper to bumper through the middle of the corner. It's super tough.
Like a cat playing with a mouse, just waiting to see if the mouse is going to make a mistake. The double deuce of Alex Murray chasing down the 0-2 of Jacob Schneider, and Schneider, Murray, and Rogers, the top 3. RJ Root finally getting himself back up into 4th position. These drivers tonight all but throwing everything at one another, including the kitchen sink.
They're throwing the kitchen sink at each other. We'll see if the 22 of Alex Murray is going to throw the kitchen sink at Jacob Schneider in front of him. Just 2 laps to go here in the stage, and just 2 car lengths separate the top 2.
Tanner Marty being involved.
Caution is out.
Caution is out.
That's going to end the stage. Jacob Schneider is going to win the stage over Alex Murray. We're going to go ahead and take a look to see what brought out this caution.
We see Tanner Marty coming down the front stretch.
Oh, he blew an engine. Oh, and got run into by Chris Claude. Had nothing to do but to stop on the racetrack. That stoppage on the racetrack brings out the caution. Now the top guys come into the pits.
The top guys? How about everybody? I'm watching Jacob Schneider. I think Jacob Schneider just towed.
Yeah, that was not his pit box that he stopped in. Now he is obviously there, but yeah, I think you're right. He towed. Well, we've got Jacob Schneider up in here. Jacob came into the pits. It looked like it took a tow as he came in.
Yeah, this race is taking longer than I'd hoped. I got a commitment I have to make at 2 in the morning, so I'm going to have to call it a night, get some rest. Good luck to all my teammates. Got to thank Ryko, No Kid Hungry, Nami, and hope one of the Prodigy boys can pull it off.
We appreciate your time. We'll let you get going.
All right, thank you guys.
Schneider up in the booth here and out of the race now. Had some stuff going on. And
we're going to send Jacob back up to field filler here so he can say goodnight to the guys.
Gonna leave us with I believe 6.
And then
On
there
the
were
racetrack.
6. Oh, what the heck? Let's go get RJ.
Yeah, why not?
Hey, RJ, it's Dave up in the booth. You got me?
I got you guys.
Buddy, listen, it's been an interesting race all night long. I mean, you know, people are dropping like flies out there. What's going on the racetrack? Take us through this, because I've seen a lot of people get DQ'd, you know, for incident points. How are you doing?
I'm not doing great. The left front toe link was bent at the middle of the second stage, I think. Got that fixed. You know, really trying to just hold on to it. We have 17 X's, and we had 2 restarts where we all got 4 X's. So it's one of those. To be honest, we should have more incidents.
Sorry, is the 17X, is that a hard out?
Yeah, 17X is out.
Okay.
You know,
Yeah,
you've heard
that's
me
a-
argue that before, RJ. In this league, racing with you, I mean, you know, these short tracks, I feel like you need to be at least up to that 25.
I mean, at least 21. I mean,
Maybe a penalty first.
Yeah, it's pretty
All
rough.
right, we're going back
listen,
green.
Yeah, go back green. Good luck, buddy.
Thank you.
Well, at least we know that RJ agrees with me. You know, that's a rough
Yeah,
night.
it's a tough deal when incident points are a factor in how you finish. RJ obviously doing as much as he can. He's a quick car. He's out in front. But we've seen a couple of guys fall out due to that incident point limit.
Yeah,
Oh,
and then there
we've
were
got
6.
stage ready to go.
And then there were 6. It's just going to be RJ Root, Alex Murray, Sean Rogers, Ryan Samuelson, Cody Cawley, and Chris Claude out here on the track. Whoa! Getting loose. Oh, my. Oh, my.
Mercedes
Oh.
Alex with a fantastic save down the front straightaway. Does not lose a spot. Although he's got Sean Rogers all up in his rearview mirror, trying to take away that second place.
He may not have lost a spot, but he did lose his dignity as he soiled himself.
I wasn't going to go that far.
Buddy, listen. It's all right. It's SNN. It all comes down to Sunday night.
I tell you what, it's Sunday night, and it's all coming down to RJ Root right now. He's got half a second of a lead for Alex Murray. Big time lockup there out of the 44. That puts Sean Rogers a little bit closer to Ryan Samuelson. Let's talk about Ryan Samuelson for a second. He's definitely a guy who's put in his dues in this league. He's won plenty of races. He's, one of the guys that, like I said, I cut my teeth in this league, and he was somebody I talked about a whole heck of a lot. Sitting in the 4th place right now, trying to close down on these guys in front of him, just a hair quicker than the cars in front. Well, than the car in front. He's 2/10 quicker. That
According
race
to
leader
his-
right now is RJ Root. He's the quickest car on the racetrack.
According to his driver info, Ryan Samuelson is my sister's favorite driver. I hate to break it to him, but my sister's not into dudes.
Okay, well, never mind then.
I feel like that's now false advertising. I'll call her and I can ask her. She's good-humored. There's right now a battle for the lead getting ready to break out. It looks like Alex Murray, oh gosh, I hope that he doesn't make contact with the 69, but right now RJ Root being harassed and pestered by Alex Murray down the backstretch. Murray looking for a way around RJ as we come into 3 and 4. This has kind of been calamity corner all night long, watching so many drivers come out of 4 and losing it. RJ, though, with perfect poise, making his way down the front stretch and now back here out of 2.
Yeah, and this is calculated out of the 22. He's trying to put pressure on him to make the 69 make a mistake so he can make the easy pass. I'm sure they're both in the same situation. In terms of incident points, these guys have got to be close. Neither one of them want to risk it, maybe get a 4X. So when they come to racing each other, I would imagine we're going to see some clean racing. But that 22 all over the rear bumper of the 69 almost gets into him coming up off of turn number 4. Gets right up in behind him. Look at how close he is on corner entry. He might be pushing for a couple of 0Xs here. Not something that we are used to or want to worry about here on iRacing. But I tell you what, man, this guy's all up on that rear bumper. He's just waiting for RJ to give him a chance to get to the inside, give him a chance to get around. Then he's going to show him just what his car is capable of.
Well, and if you watch both of these drivers, they almost have perfect rotation through each part of the turn. I mean, there's nothing too much, there's nothing too little. This is the way, if you're a car setup guy or gal, this is the way that you want your car to rotate through the turns. I mean, it is perfect to zero faults. Oh!
Yeah, that contact happened right there, but just before that happened, I was about to say, these guys are racing this track as if there's nobody in front or behind them. These guys are racing this as if it's qualifying laps, and we're seeing just how close these top two are able to get to each other without hitting. Look at the 22 trying to get up to the top side to get a bit of a run. Now he's going to come back down to the inside lane. Big time on the inside, outbreaks him. We've got a new race leader right now coming up off of turn number 2.
I'll tell you what, that is a thing of beauty, and not to sell you short or anything, Liam, but look around them. There really is nobody ahead or behind. There's only 6 cars on the entire track.
True, that just goes to show how much these top 6 drivers have had to deal with today. There's been a lot to overcome, and clearly no room for mistakes in the Sunday Night NASCAR series here at the short track. It's been tough for a lot of these guys, and we've seen a lot of them fall out due to the incident point limit. But I tell you what, these guys up front absolutely putting on a show, and putting on a clean show as we watch Chris Claude work his way through turns 1 and 2, coming up down the back straightaway.
I'll tell you what, if I would want to be any driver on this racetrack right now, it would be Chris Claude. He's out here just having a Sunday evening drive, maybe sipping on a nice Coca-Cola after getting his 5 for 5 from Wendy's. He's just having an enjoyable evening out here, keeping it clean, keeping it moving forward, and gaining 1 spot every time somebody goes ahead to Dairy Queen, which, of course, if it was me, I would rather have a Frosty instead of a Blizzard.
Depends on how much you value the burger.
You know what? Do you know why? All right, here it comes.
Yeah, you know what? A Baconator and a Frosty is better than almost any combination.
Yeah, I'm with you. Are you a French fry in the Frosty guy?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Boy. Oh, yeah. You know, here's the thing. Do you know why Wendy's uses a square patty?
I don't.
Here it comes.
I can tell you why White Castle puts holes in their patties, though.
They cook faster.
Yep.
No, so Wendy's, because they want to utilize as much of their energy as possible. By using square patties, they use the entire flat top grill instead of leaving that little bit of a gap if you have a round patty. So they're using more of the grill, thus using less energy to make the same number, if not more, burgers.
That is why White Castle sets their stuff the way that they do. Obviously, they put the holes in the burger for quicker cooking. You mentioned that, but they do the same thing where they set their patties down in their square shape, and they set them down on their griddle in such a fashion it's like 5 by 6, I think, to get 30 patties on a griddle.
And do you know what happens to the patties, to the leftover burger at the end of the night at Wendy's?
Don't.
Wendy's chili is leftover burgers from the day before.
Okay.
That way
well,
there is limited to no waste.
Yeah, I don't mind that because they've got fresh burgers.
I learned that. You can, of course, tune in right there on the History Vault in case I'm trying to get myself a free subscription. But History Vault, the food that built America.
You don't get a free subscription, give us a free Frosty.
That's fine. I'll take a free Frosty every day for the rest of my life. It'll be fine.
I'll just take one once.
I mean,
I'm an easy sell. Okay, start small. We'll work bigger later.
Nope. Go big or go home. Of course, I have no choice but to go big at my size.
I tell you what, this 22 car also has no choice but to go big. He's almost got up to a 3/4 of a second lead over RJ Root. RJ with a big loose moment there coming up off the corner. That's going to put your race lead to up to a second as the 44 of Sean Rogers getting right up to the rear bumper here of RJ Root. Trying to figure out a way around. Tell you what. Oh, and RJ goes around. Might have gotten lucky and not gotten a 2x out of that for the loss of control.
I mean, let's be fair. iRacing at some point has to turn around and say, you know what, guys? Do what you want.
That would be nice, wouldn't it?
Well, folks, at this point in the race, we're going to step aside and pay some bills here on Sim Racing Media. I'm Dave Regal. He's Liam Ervig. This is the Xfinity 500 in the Stacey Strong Cup Series on Sim Racing Media.
Imagine a theater experience so real you're part of the action. Breakthrough technology that shakes your seat at precisely the right moment so you can feel the action on the screen. Choose 4D Cinemas powered by Butt Kicker for the ultimate theater experience. And for the ultimate in movies, gaming, and sports at home, add your own Butt Kicker. A simple, wireless, affordable device that takes just seconds to install. Text the word on the screen right now to receive a special offer. Get Butt Kicker and feel what you've been missing. Imagine a theater experience so real, you're part of the action. Breakthrough technology that shakes your seat at precisely the right moment so you can feel the action on the screen. Choose 4D Cinemas powered by Butt Kicker for the ultimate theater experience. And for the ultimate in movies, gaming, and sports at home, add your own Butt Kicker. A simple, wireless, affordable device that takes just seconds to install. Text the word on the screen right now to receive a special offer. Get Butt Kicker and feel what you've been missing.
The caution is back out once again. Chris Claude has gotten into the wall, got turned head on into it. That's going to bring us under another safety car period. And I tell you what, Alex Murray right now, he's got Sean Rogers behind him. Take a look to see what happened to Chris Claude here. But Alex Murray doing what he needs to do.
I want to welcome everybody back to Martinsville Speedway as we are watching Chris Claude just spin himself around. Keeps it off the wall. Oh, I'll tell you what, he was struggling to keep it off the wall, was Chris. So good for him, as we've only got 6 cars left here on the track just to bring everybody up to speed. RJ Root and Chris Claude both down off the lead lap, so 4 cars on the lead lap. Murray, Rogers, Samuelson, and Cawley. And Dave Riegel and Liam Ervig with you tonight in the Tony Trapasso Memorial Broadcast booth. I want to thank everybody for sticking it out with us, as this has kind of become Survivor, the real race.
It really has. We've only got 5 drivers out on the racetrack right now. RJ Root sits 1 lap down, going to get back out onto the racetrack. But a lot of drivers out of this race due to incident points. Seems to be the biggest story of the night. Right now, Alex Murray holds out of the race lead. He's got the 44 of Sean Rogers behind him. Ryan Samuelson drops to him. He's up in 3rd place. He's had a lot of adversity to overcome here today. Bit of contact, got caught up in an earlier wreck. He sits in 3rd place, still on the racetrack. That's a pretty big flex for him as that pace car makes a hard left turn.
Pace car making the turn down pit road. You'll have to forgive me as I've got a popsicle to keep my throat nice and comfortable. Alex Murray and Sean Rogers coming out of turn number 4. Murray getting the jump as if he was in a spring-loaded cannon, taking off in front of Rogers. Now it's Murray, Rogers, and Samuelson, attorneys at law, leading Cody Colley down the front stretch. RJ Root and Chris Claude in pursuit, but those 2 drivers, after everything that they've been through tonight, trying to keep it clean, as right now Alex Murray doing his best to keep as much scuffage away from the double deuce as possible.
But he can. He's out front by about 3/4 of a second, but Sean Rogers not letting him get away. Be tough. We've got a long way to go here, just over 180 laps. These guys have a pit stop in front of them.
At least
Tell
one.
you what, man, this battle for the race lead, it means a lot more than just the battle for the race lead, because if you can get in front, if you're the 44, if you can get in front of this 22 and start gapping him, you can put this strategy into your own hands, decide when you want to pit, decide when you want to do things. Quite able to get to the race lead though. Alex Murray continues to hold on by about half a car length. But look at the 44 coming up off of turn number 4. Still half a car length up off of that race leader.
And I'll tell you what, as my body starts to take in some of that sugar and some of that cold from the popsicle that was just delivered here to my hands, do you know what year the popsicle came about? 1905. It was originally introduced in 1922, so the popsicle itself is 101 years old. And I'll tell you what, to me, there's nothing better than like a grape popsicle. I just prefer the grape. The fudgesicles, they're good, but they've gotten, I don't know if it's that my taste has grown up over the years, or if it's just, maybe it's not as exciting as it used to be. Taking a look here at some of our track records. NASCAR Cup Series qualifying record, 18.898 seconds, laid down by Joey Logano, a driver who I can't stand and whose car I was more than glad to see in the garage down in Homestead. I mean, Liam, let's talk a little bit about what we experienced together down in Homestead, Miami. You know, what a great weekend that we had with the Sim Racing Media family. Of course, you, myself, Mike DeMoney, and so many other personalities that we have on the air. What a cool experience that we all got to do together.
It was an incredible experience. I mean, we all got to kind of spread our wings and go out different ways. And, one of my biggest experiences was trying to talk to the guys who finished towards the tail end of the pack. One of my favorite YouTubers, one of my favorite, guys who follows the sports is Brock Beard. He works a lot with NASCAR, man. And so I had reached out to him and just to kind of ask him if I can help. And, he basically said, if you can get the last place drivers or last place cars a photo, that'd be cool. So, I got to go out and take that as my task and wander throughout the garage area while things are happening. And it was a really cool
My
I
liver
can't
was
hammer
suing me
it down
for
enough.
no. By the end of that weekend, though, my liver was suing me for separation. It was
I'm
a long
Irish.
weekend.
So
I mean, no, we weren't
didn't
drinking.
work
We were
that way
just
for me. My skin, though, however, definitely
Woof.
dealt with the. Oh, good. Yeah. No, I, as an Irish Minnesotan, got the absolute most of the Miami sun. And one of the funniest things, I wore a lanyard, and I had one strip of white, so I looked like Neapolitan ice cream with no chocolate. All that sunburn there, strip of white. It
You know what killed
feels
me
a
after?
lot better than whatever you had looked. But
Oh, trust me, you got it. You got it bad. But you know, a couple of weeks before, I was down in Myrtle Beach, and it was just downright ugly. When I came home, it was painful. And finally, now here I am about a month after that, and it's finally all passed. And one thing that I'm taking away is after my obsession with the Dan Lebitard show with Stugotz, I discovered that the week after we left Miami, they moved to Los Angeles.
oh no.
I know. So now this year, I'm thinking maybe I should go to the Clash at the Coliseum.
On the cheap flight, I'm with you, brother.
What's that?
Said you find a cheap flight, I'm with you, brother.
All right, I'm in. I'm sure we can find something. But, which, you know, I think it's interesting. I've gotten a chance now to be at Dover, Homestead, Pocono, and, you know, I think to me, I'm curious to see what a super small track, or super short track, if you will, what that looks like at the Coliseum.
I mean, the best way I can describe it is that imagine you're showing up to a football game. Get up in the stands, you get all close quarters with everybody, and instead of a football game, you've got a racetrack in front of you. Super close quarters, you're going to probably have 60 to 80,000 seats there, but what an event that would be to be able to show up to and see your favorite drivers from the year before go out here on a short track, almost like we're seeing our favorites here in the Sunday Night NASCAR series. But to go out on a short track like that in Los Angeles, in the stadium, in the Coliseum, that'd be something special.
Yeah, you know, I think so. I mean, the Coliseum still holds the Major League Baseball record for attendance. When the Dodgers had first moved out there, they wound up in the World Series. And first off, the way that stadium, that building is oriented, especially in the baseball layout, they had people essentially standing in the outfield. And with all of those people watching that one ball game, and the way that stadium was laid out, it was like 82,000, something crazy like that, to watch a World Series game.
That is insane.
Speaking of the World Series, of course, right now, no World Series tonight. Is everything all tied up. In fact, I'm just trying to pull that info up now because, of course, after the Phillies got out of it, that was just about enough for me. But last night, Arizona leveling the series and tying things up at 1-1. So, going to be an interesting finish. Of course, it's kind of the World Series doesn't feel right unless you're in a city where things are chilly. You know, where you see the players coming out in long sleeves and gloves. Because, of course, this year we're going to be in Arizona and essentially Arlington, Texas, and it doesn't get that chilly in Arlington.
No, it doesn't. Not like Minnesota does. Man, I would have loved to see a World Series game played in October, Minnesota weather. You've got 35 degrees right now. Let me actually just double check what the temperature looks like here in Minnesota.
Cold.
It is 33 degrees in Minneapolis. would be beautiful time for a World Series game. But, well, as we get a little bit further in front of us, going to go up to the front of the field and talk about Alex Murray. He's got 155 laps to go. A second and a half is the gap between him and Sean Rogers. Chris Claude sits here towards the tail end, or rather just the first car, one lap down. He's going to go ahead and let that 44 get by him. That's Sean Rogers. Sean just sitting about a second and a half behind your race leader. A little bit quicker these last couple times around, quicker than Alex Murray. We'll see if he's able to close it down, but everybody's got another pit stop coming up in front of him. Going to see what happens here.
Speaking of the world of other sports, of course, want to check in with things going on elsewhere in sports and entertainment. Of course, in the National Football League, at the half, the Los Angeles Chargers lead the Chicago Bears 24-7. They're out there in Inglewood. If you're a Cowboys fan, you're going to sleep pretty easy tonight after watching them beat the Rams by 23. They beat the Rams 43-20 in Arlington, speaking of the Texas Rangers. Your Vikings bring home a win against the well-hated Packers, 24-10.
Yeah, that was a big win for the Vikings. However, Kirk Cousins, he was injured today. It seems to be an Achilles type of situation, which could be the end of his season. We're obviously going to wait until Monday, but the big fear is that he tore his Achilles on a non-contact injury. That sucks, man. I was coming into this week thinking we could be 4-4, we could be 500, we could get rid of our woes at the beginning of the season. But to have your star quarterback taken out in an injury like that, it's tough. I don't know much about this backup that we have. So
Jaron Hall.
Jaron Hall, yes, I believe.
Jaron Hall went 3 for 4. So after Kirk Cousins went 23 for 31 and 274 yards with a pair of touchdowns, no interceptions, Jaron Hall went 3 for 4 for 23 yards and was sacked once with a QB rating of 4.3. Good luck to him. Here's what's more embarrassing. Look, I'm really sorry about Kirk Cousins, and I know that he's looking at a possible end to his season. Green Bay, this is the most embarrassing number that you can possibly find. Jordan Love went 24 for 41, 229 yards with a touchdown and an interception after being sacked 4 times for a QBR of 16.9. The Green Bay rushing attack. As a team, they had 17 carries for 74 yards, no touchdowns. Jordan Love, the quarterback, led the team in rushing with 4 carries and 34 yards. If I was Green Bay, I'd be embarrassed.
Yeah, that's definitely a tough game to write home to mom about.
I wouldn't even write home to mom. I'd just put a message in a bottle and ship it off. The Titans wind up beating the Falcons, of course, that being Chris Claude's favorite team, being from Fairview, Tennessee. So good to see that they've improved their record to 3-4 in the AFC South. The Saints managed to squeak out a win over top of the Colts, 38-27. The Dolphins bring home a win against the, used to be scary Patriots, as the Dolphins still commanding that division with a 6-2 record, 31-17 over the Patriots. What do you think the secret's going to be with the Patriots moving forward this season?
Oh, man. I think the secret's been soiled. I think Bill Belichick has a lot more to worry about than he's ever had to in the past. He doesn't have this star defense. He doesn't have his star quarterback. Now he's sitting here struggling with the ruins of what he had built before. Bill Belichick right now has got to be in the frustration zone, for lack of a better term. He has got to be struggling over there with a team that's not up to par with what he's used to calling.
But do you think that Bill Belichick is anywhere near a hot seat situation?
No, I think Bill Belichick gets to decide when Bill Belichick is done. I think this is not a good season for him. So obviously, I see why that question comes up, but I do think that Bill Belichick is a guy that they could just ask him and be like, "Hey, Bill, what are your plans for the future?" And he could just be like, "I'm done," walk away,
You
done
know,
like that.
the usual answer to that question would be something like, "Well, I'll think about it." But Bill Belichick's usual answer is, "Well, I got to think about it, and I'm not really sure what's going on ahead of me." He usually just grumbles. He's just a grumbler.
When Bill is done, he will say, "I'm done."
That's fair.
And just
I
walk
could go with that. But Tua Tagovailoa winds up throwing for 324 yards, 3 touchdowns, and an interception. So hopefully he was started on some fantasy teams this week. The Jets eke out a win over their roommates, the Giants, as technically the Jets were away, but they wind up going 4-3 now on the season. The Jaguars beat the Steelers 20-10. It seems like the Steelers' strength in the AFC North is starting to dwindle, while the Philadelphia Eagles improved to 7-1 by just barely beating the Commanders. It shows the final score being 38-31, but the Eagles didn't have the lead until the fourth quarter.
And I mean, a game like that just goes to show, and obviously last week, kind of a bigger win for the Philadelphia Eagles over the Miami Dolphins. It just goes to show you that, Vin Diesel once said, it doesn't matter if you win by an inch or a mile, winning's winning. And that's what this team did here today. Philadelphia got the job done over the Commanders, even though Washington tried as hard as they could to put on a late effort. Philadelphia was able to get away A-OK, and they are continuing strong as they have in the last couple of years. They've been a phenomenally strong team. Obviously won the Super Bowl in 2018, I believe. They've been in the NFC Championship 3 times since then. It's tough to root against them, maybe twice since then. But
I have no problem rooting against the Eagles, even though that I live right outside of Philadelphia.
Oh, I'm a Minnesotan, so I root against them. I was just trying to be clean.
No, it's fine. Everybody knows that I bleed little blue stars, even though that I live in the shadow of Lincoln Financial Field. But the Panthers bring home the win against the Texans. The Seahawks best the Browns 24-20 at home. The Chiefs dropped. That's wild. I know.
I saw the Seahawks were up 14-0 with 5 minutes left in the first quarter. Hey.
Geno Smith had a pretty good game, too. 254 yards, 2 interceptions, 2 touchdowns. If he could have lowered that interception rate, it might have made the Seattle final score a little bit stronger. The Chiefs dropped their second game of the season after only getting 3 field goals in this game against the Browns. Oh! Who was that? That was RJ up in the wall. 24-9.
No.
Ravens beating the Cardinals in a battle of the birds in the desert, as the Cardinals fall to 1-7. And last but certainly not least, the Bengals beat the Niners and deal them their 3rd loss of the season, 31-17. So an interesting day in football as we look back to our race. Murray's still our race leader, as Sean Rogers running in second position, Ryan Samuelson in third, Cody Colley in fourth. Chris Claude and RJ Root down a couple of laps, as RJ down 1, Chris down 3, but just 6 drivers out on the track. This has got to be the longest race the longest remaining race with the fewest amount of cars I think I've ever seen. A little bit of Sunday afternoon, Sunday evening National Hockey League action as the Sabres beat the Avalanche 4-0. The Devils put up a 4-piece over the Minnesota Wild, 4-3. The Washington Capitals beating the San Jose Sharks 3-1, and the Edmonton Oilers beating the Calgary Flames 5-2 north of the border. So some interesting action. Like I had said before, this used to be my favorite time of year. Of course, now that the Phillies are out of the playoffs, I really could care less. As I also believe basketball into their regular season now. Looks like the Kings leading the Lakers. That's interesting. In a battle of, yep, they are. This is the regular season. Kings leading the Lakers 61-55 in the second quarter. The Clippers at halftime leading the San Antonio Spurs 56-37. Denver Nuggets shellacking the OKC Thunder 128-95. The Warriors beat the Rockets 106-95. The Hawks put up 127 points over the Milwaukee Bucks 127-110, and my Philadelphia Sixers improved to 2-1 on the season, beating the Blazers 126-98. Joel Embiid putting up 35 points for a double-double with 15 rebounds on the night. So pretty big night in the NBA. Of course, Liam, I don't know how you feel, but sometimes I feel like the NBA is kind of like the soap opera of sports. There's more drama outside the court than there is on it.
Yeah, there definitely is. I haven't heard any other sport talk about putting guys on the bench so that they don't overdo themselves, right? Almost every other sport you're in, everything that you can get out of your guys is the most important. Well, I don't know enough about basketball, but I do know that sitting players for the sake of sitting players is not what I want to see. So,
no, and just to bring everybody else up to speed, if you will, in the NASCAR Cup Series in the real world, Ryan Blaney brought home the checkered flag at Real Martinsville today, and he joins Christopher Bell, Kyle Larson, and William Byron in the championship four, as Ryan Blaney did what Denny Hamlin couldn't do in today's real-life Xfinity 500. And as a result, Blaney will race for the NASCAR Cup Series championship next Sunday at Phoenix Raceway over on NBC. Of course, you can join our colleagues over there, Dale Jr. and everybody else. And I'll tell you what, they had a 168-lap green flag run to the finish today. And Ryan Blaney managed to track down Eric Almirola and pass him for the lead on 478. So we may still see something interesting tonight here if this is any kind of indicator.
Yeah, we're approaching 100 laps to go. We've got 119 to go at this moment. Alex Murray doing a strong job holding on to this race lead, but Sean Rogers not letting him get too far out in front. The gap is less than 3 seconds. Last time we talked about this gap, it was 2.5. So great job by the 44, staying close to the car in front of him. However, he's got a tough task in front of him, trying to figure out, are you going to try to undercut this guy? Are you going to try to overcut this guy? Maybe do we get a caution that gives us all the chance to pit together? A lot of things up in the air right now here for a guy like Sean Rogers in second place. But I tell you what, that crew chief, he's going to be on it.
Without a doubt. And looking ahead to tomorrow night right here on Sim Racing Media, I want to make sure that everybody remembers to tune in at about 8:20 p.m. Eastern Time for the A Lot Cleaner Property Management and Maintenance Xfinity Series live right here with yours truly at the microphone for 250 blistering laps in Martinsville. Of course, tomorrow's also cut night for the playoffs in the Xfinity Series. Bennett Allen leading us in points right now, with Brandon Minto, Aaron Mack, Rich Jett, Gabriel Lafreniere, Ron Fitting, Alexander Gangler, and John Wilco from McAdoo, Pennsylvania, making up your round of 8. So 4 drivers going to have to move on to the next round there in Phoenix. Of course, Mike McConville out of Cape May, New Jersey, a non-playoff driver, brought home the checkered flag at Las Vegas 2 weeks ago. Last week, Bennett Allen punched his ticket to the championship 4 by bringing home the win at Homestead, Miami in the Contender Boats 300. So tomorrow, the Dead on Tools 250 right here at Martinsville on SRM, going to mean a lot for some of those drivers, especially for those drivers that are trying to make it to the championship 4. Things going to be pretty interesting. So want to invite everybody to come along tomorrow night and hang out with me here in the Tony Trapassa Memorial Broadcast booth as we bring you all of the action from flag to flag. And I'll tell you what, tonight, Liam, it's been from green flag to caution to green flag, caution. It's been flag to flag to flag to flag. But it looks like we finally may get this run in that we've been waiting for to the end.
Yeah, and this, I tell you what, if you're hoping for a caution, this might not be the run that you want to see. RJ Root has disconnected from the session, so we're left with just 5 cars on the racetrack right now. Chris Quad sits 1 lap down, so he's not going to be racing anybody super aggressively. The top 4, Alex Murray, Sean Rogers, Ryan Samuelson, and Cody Colley, these guys within...
Well, and it's unfortunate that it's this stage in the season. For starters, if you're not going to make the championship 4, you're not really, your heart may not be in it. Of course, it's also a very long race, 500 laps at a place like Martinsville is incredibly taxing on the body. Plus, it's getting later and later at night. I mean, here we are 2 hours and 41 minutes in on this race. It's 10:15 here on the East Coast. So for a lot of these drivers, hey, you got to get up and go to work in the morning.
That is definitely the case for some of these guys, and we're seeing some of the super troopers here towards the end as we watch Cody Colley working through turns 1 and 2, slides up the racetrack just a little bit, cuts it back down, and is able to get a good exit. But Alex Murray, your race leader, being chased down. Sean Rogers, about 2.5 seconds separate your top 2 right now. 4 cars on the lead lap. Cody Colley, Chris Quad, both 1 lap down.
And not far behind is Ryan Samuelson. He's 13 seconds now behind race leader Alex Murray. And as that time is going to grow between Samuelson and Murray, that means that the distance between the front bumper of Alex Murray and the rear bumper of Ryan Samuelson going to be shrinking, which, could leave just 2 cars on the lead lap here in Cup Series action.
Yeah, we'll have to see what we see here. Ryan Samuelson, obviously half a lap behind your race leader. Not quicker these last couple of laps around, but see what he can throw together. Do still have a pit stop coming our way. And speaking of a pit stop, Sean Rogers has come into the pits. From second place, the 44 Sean Rogers coming into the pits. We'll see if anybody tries to follow him. Ryan doesn't, but Sean Rogers down to the inside. He is the first to bite in terms of green flag pit stops. We'll see what his fresher tires can do in terms of the battle with Alex Murray. How long is Murray going to stay out? We see him up on the top side. He just went around. He's going to gain at least 1 lap on this 44 machine, Sean Rogers. Alex Murray still out on the racetrack. How long does he let those old tires try to play here at Martinsville Speedway?
Just 2 cars on the lead lap as we stand right now, Alex Murray and Ryan Samuelson. Samuelson, though, a 14-second gap between himself and Murray. And now with Sean Rogers rolling off a pit road, we're going to see that lap time and see approximately what he can throw together here. Of course, his best lap of the evening was 19.22 seconds. As he gets warmed back up here, as these tires come up to pressure, we're going to see what kind of a time he can lay down, as right now your leader, Alex Murray, ran a 20.34. And Rogers getting past Ryan Samuelson has just ran himself a 19.62. Samuelson is coming in.
Samuelson coming in. Alex Murray still stays out. Samuelson saw just how much those fresh tires are going to benefit. But Alex Murray continues to stay out, and I have to wonder how much is that going to hurt. And he's almost a second to a second and a half lower than Sean Rogers, who came in to take fresh tires.
We can see a lot of vacant space here on pit road as Samuelson made his way down. He's going to go up on the right, get himself all sorted out here in front of the pit box. Up on the left, get some for Mr. Feelgoods with 97 laps to go here. He's going to roll off a pit road. Alex Murray last came down on 312, and he is in now.
Yep. Fantastic entry there. It didn't look like he had much more to gain there, getting down to that cone. Try not to speed here. You've lost a little bit of time to the 44 Sean Rogers got to try to get out here. It was 2.5 seconds before Sean Rogers came into pit. There was obviously 3 or 4 laps between pit stops, but perfect stop there for Alex Murray. Going to take 4 tires, more than likely.
If he doesn't, I'd have him checked mentally. And Alex Murray just dropped out of the race.
Oh, my. From the race lead, Cody Colley is going to assume the race lead in the 56 car. Sean Rogers in second, and Ryan Samuelson should assume third place. There are only 4 drivers on the racetrack at the moment. And I tell you what, man, this is not any of the sponsors wanted to see. This is a true battle of attrition. We're going to find out who's got the most fortitude moving forward.
I am all kinds of confused at this point. Alex Murray was out with a nice, healthy lead. He could have easily walked this one home and decided not to. Chris Claude's still down 3 laps, turning those laps. And he's just, like I said, out for a Sunday drive in the old number 10 Toyota Camry. Sean Rogers, your new race leader, only has to beat Cody Colley and Ryan Samuelson. And take a look at this. Samuelson came down on lap 400. Sean Rogers, with an 18-second lead over top of him, has him in the crosshairs.
Well, he does, but the last lap around, he was a 10.5 quicker than your race leader, Sean Rogers.
You almost want to see if they can just throw the white flag and finish it up right now. They could probably save everybody a lot of headache right now and just, quick throw a caution flag, get everybody bunched back up, and decide 5 laps and duke it out.
And we'll see what we've got here going on.
You're going to bear with me, folks. We're going to peel back the curtain here and just take a look at something, as I'm curious how close we are to session time.
Oh, we got time. We've got an hour.
Oh, yeah, we're good.
Hour and a half almost.
Cody Colley in on pit road. So that's going to put him down a lap. Not that it's going to matter that much, but Sean Rogers got tires. Everybody else had come down. Chris Claude, the only driver who hasn't come down pit road since lap 311. I guess there's no need to if you're not beating up your equipment. Run it out for fuel. As I had started to go through earlier, some of the track records here, Joey Logano, I had mentioned, has the Cup Series qualifying record. The fastest lap in race trim belongs to Ross Chastain from back in 2022. Why don't you take us through some of that, Liam, and talk to us about what Ross had done back in 2022? Or not. Cup Series Racing, Jeff Gordon won this race in 3 hours, 11 minutes back in 1996. I was looking to see, here it is. Most wins here at Martinsville belongs to Richard Petty, of course, the king with 15 checkered flags. He also has the most top 5s with 30 top 5s. Most top 10s belongs to Jeff Gordon. Most starts belongs to Richard Petty at 67. Most poles is Darrell Waltrip at 8. Richard Petty also has the most laps completed at 27,891. Jeff Gordon has the most laps led at 3,779. Best average start, Fonty Flock with a best average start of 3.1. Best average finish is Dick Hutcherson, and the best average finish among active drivers is Ryan Blaney at 9.5. Now, I'm curious about somebody named Fonty Flock. Turns out he was the brother of NASCAR pioneers Tim Flock and Bob Flock. And apparently the second female NASCAR driver, Ethel Mobley. The Flock siblings raced at the July 10th, 1949 race on the Daytona Beach Road Course, which was the first event to feature a brother and a sister, and the only NASCAR event to feature 4 siblings. And Ethel beat Fonte and Bob by finishing in 11th. So that's kind of interesting, especially so far before, the women that we've seen in NASCAR today, as Ethel Flock beats her brothers Fonte and Bob.
Nice to beat your siblings, Dave. You've come out the victor. Do you have any siblings?
I do. I've got my sister. She's technically my half sister, but we just simply weren't raised that way. And I've got a smattering of stepbrothers and stepsister, which we're pretty tight knit as far as step siblings go. What about you?
3 brothers growing up, and to put it plainly, I got my ass kicked a lot. So,
Well, but here you are sitting with one of the coolest jobs in the world,
and one of the coolest partners I could ever have. Just to jump back, we did get a little bit of a report, I believe, from Alex Murray. Speeding on the pit lane might have been why he cut out.
Well, only 2 cars left on the lead lap, and it's about to be 1. Sean Rogers just ran a 19.71 to Ryan Samuelson's 19.79, and he's still getting faster. I don't say it often, but I think it's soon time.
We've got ourselves a fantastic battle for the race lead. Unfortunately, it's not quite for the race lead. It's to put the second place car 1 lap down. Here comes Sean Rogers down to the inside, trying to take away this position. Not quite able to. Almost a little bit of contact between turns 1 and 2. Now he's got to try to slot back in behind and set himself up for a pass again to make himself the only car on the lead lap. Samuelson, with a phenomenal 3 and 4, is able to get up to 2 car lengths out in front. But the braking zone brings that 44 back towards the back bumper of that 81 machine. Getting down into 3 and 4, we'll see just how much Ryan Samuelson is, he's going to slide up the racetrack.
Working lap 428 of 500. Just 1 car on the lead. Well, kind of. He's really holding on to it here. At this point, do you just get out of the way, or do you fight for your honor?
You fight for your honor. If this caution comes out, you've got a chance to bump this guy back. Sorry. You've got a chance to bump this guy back the same way he's been bumping you. Now here comes the 44 back down to the inside. He's going to be able to complete this pass almost. Samuelson trying to stay strong up on the top side, only able to stick around halfway to the door. That's going to put the 44 1 lap in front of his competition. I tell you what, man, that is a flex. That is a flex on the rest of everybody you're racing with.
Just 1 car on the lead lap. And this is something that I've never seen before, Liam. I mean, of all the nights that you and I finally get a chance to sit together and call a race, we see what could be a freak show of a competition. They should be selling tickets at Ringling Brothers Barn and Bailey. No, even better yet. On Groupon, Ripley's Believe It or Not in Myrtle Beach. You'll believe it or not, there's just 1 car here on the lead lap, and it is Sean Rogers. Well, folks, we're going to step aside and pay some bills one last time here with about 65 laps to go. I'm Dave Regal, he's Liam Ervig, and this is Sim Racing Media.
Imagine a theater experience so real you're part of the action. Breakthrough technology that shakes your seat at precisely the right moment so you can feel the action on the screen. Choose 4D Cinemas powered by Butt Kicker for the ultimate theater experience. And for the ultimate in movies, gaming, and sports at home, add your own Butt Kicker. A simple, wireless, affordable device that takes just seconds to install. Text the word on the screen right now to receive a special offer. Get Butt Kicker and feel what you've been missing. Imagine a theater experience so real you're part of the action. Breakthrough technology that shakes your seat at precisely the right moment so you can feel the action on the screen. Choose 4D Cinemas powered by Butt Kicker for the ultimate theater experience. And for the ultimate in movies, gaming, and sports at home, add your own Butt Kicker. A simple, wireless, affordable device that takes just seconds to install. Text the word on the screen right now to receive a special offer. Get Butt Kicker and feel what you've been missing.
Welcome back to Martinsville Speedway, where we're watching the Stacy Strong Sunday Night NASCAR Cup Series Xfinity 500. We're on lap 454 of 500, and Dave Riegel and Liam Ervig here in the Tony Trapasso Memorial Broadcast booth. What an interesting evening that we've had, as just one car left on the lead lap, and that is driven by Sean Rogers. That's the 44 right here in the middle of your screen. Ryan Samuelson running in second position, serving a pit penalty after speeding on pit road. Chris Claude running in third position, 7 laps down, ahead of Cody Cawley. The only other just 3 cars left here on the racetrack. And after a littering of caution flags early in this race, lots of disqualifications due to incident points, that's where we are up to this point.
A lot of guys got caught out by that. Guys like Matt Mettler, Ken Ron, Dalton Mobley, Mark Johnston. We saw Brandon Edstrom running up front. He also was one of these guys caught out by a situation where penalty points got him out of the race. So not something that you want to see here. But as we approach 40 laps to go, like Dave mentioned it, we've only got 3 guys out here left, and this has truly become a battle of attrition. This is a chess match between these top guys. Sean Rogers has the race lead. Chris Claude is out there in third place. He's doing what he can to try to hold on to his position. Ryan Samuelson sitting in second place. I tell you what, man, this race leader, he's got himself about 4 laps of a gap on second place. Does it get any better than that? Like, could anything come easier to you than that type of a gap as you approach 40 laps to go?
No, nothing. And, even looking here in our YouTube.com live chat, Amanda Price still cheering on her man, Sean Rogers, in the 44, and the 100% Cup Series checking in with us as well here in the YouTube.com live chat. Respect to the guys for finishing. We've been there, and I'll tell you what, this is something that I've never seen. Only one other time in my broadcast career have I seen something like this, and it was last season in the Way She Goes Racing League, where 2 cars finished at Circuit of the Americas after going somewhere in and around like 70 laps all by their lonesome. And let me tell you, that was a long night at the microphone.
Yeah, it certainly is. It gets long for us in a situation like this, but it goes to show the dedication of these drivers that these drivers have to this league. We're running 100% races week in and week out, and this is one of the toughest situations to run at. You've got a paperclip type of racetrack with a minimum, or with a 17X. I think that was a hard out with the 17X. So, I mean, you have absolute most aggression in front of you, but you've got to keep that X count in mind. We've seen that hurt a lot of guys throughout the course of the night, but these 3 guys still out here on the racetrack, really showing some good dedication, and have been able to stay strong and diligent without running into a whole lot of stuff.
Without a doubt, as we're going to ride along here with Sean Rogers, because why not at this point? Rogers is completely comfortable as he's in control of this race. I mean, there's not much else that you can say about the man except that he has stuck it out and basically, driven himself from Kalamazoo here all the way to victory lane by being patient, by keeping the car clean, by doing everything that you have to do as a race car driver to get it done. And, he, along with his compatriots, Ryan Samuelson out of Westminster, Maryland, he's holding on to it the best that he can. Of course, we see Ryan not even having to shift. He's still got that car dialed in. And Fairview, Tennessee's very own Chris Claude going to get a podium finish here in the final 2 weeks of the season, as he has just held on. And obviously we see Chris fighting a tight condition here, Liam.
Yeah, definitely a tight condition, but it is no surprise that Chris Claude is out here still fighting, still clawing, able to get himself up into the podium positions, and that just goes to show what Chris Claude has done throughout the course of this season. Things haven't always come easy to him. Anytime he gets a chance to pounce on an opportunity, he has, and that's exactly what we're seeing here tonight, as he's up 9 spots from where he started. He's up in the 3rd spot, couple of laps down from your race leader, Sean Rogers. No, there's not a whole heck of a lot going on the racetrack right now, but Chris Claude has done an absolutely incredible job of just keeping himself clean, keeping himself towards the front, and I tell you what, he might not be in this playoff position, but big time points night like tonight, going to keep the sponsors happy.
Yeah, and as I've mentioned before, I mean, this is a situation now with just a little more than 25 to go that, how do I quantify this? You've gotten yourself to this point in the season. There's only this week and next week left. There's a lot of drivers that feel dejected, that feel exhausted from such a long season. And they looked at the timing and scoring and they thought, you know what? There's no reason for me to be out here. It's time to go to bed. But, Chris Claude, a driver that is not put to bed very easily, whether that car is tight or not. And all season long, he has been Mr. Consistency here in the Stacey Strong Cup Series and really across all 3 of these series. I mean, he has managed the SNN family of racing series for the last few years. And when I say family, I really mean that. I mean, this is what, a good league usually looks like, except that there's only 3 cars left here. SNN has themselves built for 3 nights a week. There's tonight for Sunday Night NASCAR Cup Series, then tomorrow night for the A Lot Cleaner Property Management and Maintenance Xfinity Series, and then Tuesday, of course, for the Truck Series. Now, this week, the Truck Series is off as they do not race here at Martinsville. So here with 25 to go, we're looking at just tonight and tomorrow night in the Xfinity Series.
Yeah, things definitely heating up as we get towards the end of the season. Sean Rogers coming into the pits from the race lead. This is a, I'm not sure what this is. Not an ideal spot to stop, but...
he doesn't belong there. Is he doing what I think he's doing?
You can't park there.
No, I think he's allowing Samuelson to get back up here so they can race one another.
Could it be? We've seen Stranger Things on Netflix, and now we're going to see some wild things here on Sim Racing Media.
He's going to allow Samuelson a lap. Come on. Fire it off here. What in the world? Okay, there's Claude. There he is. That's what he was doing. He was allowing Ryan Samuelson to get the laps back. And he handicapped him. He handicapped him 3 laps to get him back onto the lead lap.
Well, these guys want to see a race just as much as we do, and I tell you what a better way to set it up. Sean Rogers coming up in here. Going to take some... Just going to do the drive-through. Got 4 seconds between him and Samuelson. Looks like he's going to try to wait on him. Let them...
Race radio getting a little chippy there as Samuelson allowed those laps back, is closing in on Sean Rogers now, forcing Samuelson to have to race him. And it turns out that was actually a bathroom break.
Oh, my.
According to race radio and Chris Claude's reporting from down in the pits, Sean Rogers had to pee, and it wasn't going to wait.
It'd be like that sometimes. Now he's got less than a second of a race lead right now. over Ryan Samuelson, who did not have to pee. He did not have to take that long type of potty break. He sits here within 1 second, getting closer to half a second off the race lead as we have 20 laps to go this time around.
Chris Claude going to be put back down one of those laps that Rogers was allowing him to get back as they get around Chris Claude. I mean, one wiggle of the wheel and it could have been all over. Now these three cars bunched back up together just for fun, so I guess it looks nice here on the camera as Rogers and Samuelson drive away from Chris Claude, as Samuelson now closing in on Rogers to about a quarter of a second. I guess Rogers didn't want to just walk away with the win.
I wonder how badly was that bathroom break timed, because he's all of a sudden got Ryan Samuelson all over his rear bumper. He thought it to be a cocky time to pull down to the inside, use the toilet, get back out onto the racetrack. But now once he's got back into the car, it doesn't seem like he's got the same sort of edge to keep that 81 behind him. We'll see if Ryan Samuelson can maybe utilize that bumper or utilize that rear view mirror position he's got as he looks down to the inside, getting down into turn one. Not quite enough there to take away the race lead. We've got 15 laps to go, and, well, we've got ourselves a dogfight. Well, coming to 16, my bad there. 16 laps to go at the line. We've got ourselves a dogfight for the top two. Chris Claude has clearly got himself third place. That's not going to be an issue. However, we are worried about the race win right now, and Sean Rogers does not want to give it to Ryan Samuelson.
Yeah, Chris Claude could put it on the hauler right now, and he'd still wind up on the podium. But all of a sudden, these top two drivers, who we've watched all night long, have decided that this is the time that they want to try to crank it up a little bit. Maybe Rogers wanted to be challenged some by Samuelson.
Samuelson.
No.
Samuelson goes around.
Samuelson kisses the inside wall. Let's just take a look back and see what happened as that unfolded accidentally.
Out the caution, but that's going to end his chances at trying to win this race.
As we're going to see Samuelson come out of turn 3 and 4. I'm sorry, 1 and 2, and go down into 3 and 4. And he just dirt tracks it. You have to imagine after this long of a race that even Samuelson thought, well, maybe I could just throw it in here. Oh, a second one from Samuelson as we go back live. And that brings out the 19th caution of the evening.
It sure does. It was not what anyone up front wanted to see. But the caution comes out once again, and that sets us up for less than 10 laps of a shootout.
At the
Ryan
very least,
Samuelson get his damage fixed?
You're
I
kidding
tell you
me.
what.
Wait. Oh
What's that?
my. This may DQ Ryan Samuelson. That was Ryan Samuelson's second at fault. That may disqualify him.
Oh my.
I'm waiting to see what race control is determining.
Like they're going to let him continue.
Technically, well, see, here's the thing. If he gets DQ'd, that puts Chris Claude into second position because he will get that back. Oh, no, he won't. Yeah, that would give Claude back second position if he was actually DQ'd. But it seems like they've decided to take the rule book and light it on fire.
We'll see.
At this point, if you wanted to burn the tape for this race, nobody would even question you with 9 laps to go. Well, what do you say? 4 tires and run this thing like it's a qualifying lap for the next 9? We're going to see if we can get Chris Claude on the official word here. Oh, they're all here. Liam just left. Oh, there he is.
I'll jump back up.
Well, guys, we'll all just
Dave's
go
up
right
in
here. Dave decided to come along since the 3 of you are here.
Okay.
Well, we've got ourselves a restart coming up our way with just over 10 laps to go. These guys are going to get the chance to finish this race out after an incredible display of dedication from everybody here. Be able to finish this race out 500 laps at Martinsville.
And pulling Ryan Samuelson here into the Joe Gibbs Racing chat as Liam and I have moved on up here. Because at this point, folks, I can't believe what I'm seeing. Chris, have you just snorted yourself some racing fuel, or?
I tell you, it's been a one for the books. That's for sure. I can't imagine having a race like this again. But you know, it is what it is, and we're gonna finish this out with only 10 laps or so to go, and try to get somebody else locked into the championship race.
Well, we're going to hang out with you guys right here as Sean Rogers takes off like a shot over top of Ryan Samuelson. Samuelson going to the high side right now. Guys, if this distracts you, let me know.
Nope.
But we're gonna hang out with you right here as it goes Rogers, Samuelson, and Claude. Now, before we talked about when Murray was in there that it kind of sounded like an accounting firm, Rogers, Samuelson, and Murray. But right now, you guys are going at it pretty hot and heavy. How do you manage to get through this many laps and still, wow, easy killer, as we've gone this long into the night?
Yeah, it's just, you know, I'm just, you know, I was trying to get the best finish I could. You know, I was clinging on to, you know, I pretty much had to win or go home. So I was sticking around for the long haul anyway. So, you know, once we got in these long runs, I seen Alex leave, and I kind of de facto got the lead, and it's just been kind of hanging out.
Well, your girlfriend's there cheering you on, of course, in the YouTube.com live chat. You know, the thing is, I guess without people like that cheering you on, it's like, well, I guess I really don't need to hang out.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. And she's super supportive, so a big shout out to her if she's still watching.
Around the caution is out once again.
And just in case this couldn't get any more crazy, we're going to
Let's
go
go a
green,
couple
white,
extra.
checker.
Let's go a couple extra.
Of course.
Because I just want to have fun at this point. I'm just messing around.
I tell you what,
Guys.
just forget Samuson's penalties and let him have some fun here. Obviously, that's not the way that the league is going to work. But,
You can DQ me after. I've been here for 500 laps. Just let me get my 500 laps in.
We've got ourselves a restart coming up here. With,
I wanted to let you know, Ryan, earlier, Ryan, when we were reading your driver information earlier, and your tagline here is your sister's favorite driver. I'm sorry, but I do have to disqualify you. My sister doesn't like dudes.
Well, that sounds like a poor taste. I guess I don't teach their own, man.
Fortunately, she's twisted like I am, so it's fine.
I've seen Dave. He can't twist worth crap.
I cannot twist. I can drink.
Yeah.
Especially until I can't feel feelings.
This race makes me want to. Actually, I already do. This is just
Liam
gonna
and
add to why.
Here's the killer.
We'll crack one open together after the checker flag here.
Are we like SRM after night? Because like, there's a lot of things I want to say. I just don't really think I can play them.
Listen, nobody's paying attention at this point. In fact, let me check the live chat. Wait, Brandon Sheridan says, "Congrats, SNN. That's his third." I don't care if there's only 4 cars left. You can't just change the rules on the fly like that.
So they're upset about the 81 being involved in the race. I think that's what the situation is. The 81 is not allowed to gain positions. It's just to finish the thing out. From what I'm
Who's saying that?
understanding.
Brandon Sheridan? Never heard
I-
of him.
Again, like I'm the worst I finish is third. Like
Actually, right now, if you parked it with just 3 to go, there's Chris isn't down enough laps. Oh wait, yeah, you are.
Yeah,
Chris would still be able to take over.
I'm still podium. That's fine. Second, third. I'm not the winner, so what difference does it make?
That's fair.
Well-
You know, here's the thing. The kicker to this is Liam and I have never been able to work together. We are always usually on opposite broadcasts of some persuasion. So I texted him earlier and I said, hey, listen, I need somebody to ride along with me for SNN. I was like, besides, they're a good crew. We don't got that many cautions. It's usually pretty good. Blah, 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 blah.
And
it turns out
Chris, it's always
Dave had never been that full of fecal matter in his entire life.
Yeah. Yeah. I wasn't expecting 20 tonight, but you know what? We still have our issues with Martinsville, just like other leagues and other series do. I mean, there's a reason why the NASCAR series doesn't run this track. So,
But we've got ourselves a green-white checker. Technically, Ryan Samuelson has a chance for the win, but we know he doesn't. We've got ourselves 2 laps to go here at Martinsville. Green flag comes out. But let's just run this home, Chris. You're going to come home with a 3rd place finish. Talk with us about your day.
I don't think that my day could have gone much better as far as my finishing position, and but I certainly would have liked to do it with a few more cars on the track, obviously. But the fact that my buddy and my teammate is going to wind up getting into the championship race is just an incredible. I feel like I'm a winner also. So. Yay! Good job, Sean. Whee! Exactly.
wow.
Yeah.
Yes.
As
Yeah.
a matter of fact, please do.
What a night tonight. I mean, you 3 guys at least should get some kind of an award. When we have the awards banquet in Nashville, make sure that everybody gets the award here tonight for surviving.
Yeah, that was an endurance test there, and then wow, I can honestly say I've never been a part of a race like that before.
No, so I guess we're just going to quick cut to our post-race interview since everybody's here and we're all here.
Yes.
Sean, take us through this. How do you manage to survive this long in this style of a race, overcoming as much as you did tonight?
Yeah, it's just like I mentioned earlier. I needed all the points I could get and all the luck I could get. Didn't anticipate being one of 3 cars finishing, but once I got in the lead, I was might as well finish it and punch my ticket to Phoenix.
Yeah, man. Now, who do you need to thank for this run tonight and tip your helmet to?
Shout out to my team at BMP, especially Kenny and Schmitz. They do a great job of putting together the cars that I run here each and every week, so definitely a big hat tip to them. Shout out to Amanda. She watches just about every race and supports my little nerdy hobby that I spend a lot of time doing. And shout out to you guys for, as much as we had to be endurance and stick around, you guys did too. So shout out to you guys for sticking out for this whole thing.
That's what we're here for. Listen, we're here to entertain and inform.
There you go.
But Liam, why don't you take it away here with Ryan?
Yeah, Ryan, obviously 2nd place doesn't begin to tell the story of your race. You had a lot to overcome, a lot of contact through your race. Kind of walk us through the first couple of stages before we get to the final stage.
First stage good, 2nd stage shit show. 3rd stage pure boredom. I just got to the point where I was trying to entertain myself for 100 laps. Once Alex pit, I'm like, okay, what do we do here? By the way, I'm actually mad at Sean. Not because he won the race, because he sat at pit road and gave me freaking false hope. Like, that's the worst thing you can do. It's like going fishing, dangling a worm in front of the fish just for 50 laps. I'm just like, why? Like, did you really have to go to that bathroom that bad? I just wanted you to end my misery.
Yeah, I was like, yeah, no, I should be able to make it. And then I got to a point where that wasn't happening.
And then I
Glory of this
wrecked.
booth is so we get the immediate response.
There was a
Yeah?
there's a saying that, like, from Ted Lasso that they kind of made fun of. It's like, it's the hope that kills you. The hope did kill me that you gave me because I wrecked. So, like,
That's fair.
Again,
I just watched that episode.
my shout out of the night is fuck you, Sean.
All right. Well, last but not least.
Yeah, we
you
got
wanna-
Chris Platt up in here. Chris, go ahead and talk us through your race. You had a lot of ups and downs, but man, you were able to finish, which is something that a lot of people couldn't say.
Yeah, it was one of the three kings of the endurance, I guess, to be able to finish this one. And as I said before, I'm just most happy about Sean and being able to get into the championship race. That means a lot to me as a team owner, and he's raced his butt off the entire season and has been so competitive, and I want him to get a shot at the championship next Sunday. But from my own standpoint, it's nice to. I would have been happy with the top 5, and to get the podium is even better, regardless of how it happens. You still have to race the race, and so I will be switching back to the Dasani for finishing in the top 5 and
Attaboy.
Race that. And in order to maintain that through the off season into the next season, I'll have to have another top 5. But I suspect that we will have more than 3 cars finish the Phoenix race next Sunday. So I'll have to earn it a lot more.
Well, to the 3 of you, I want to tip my helmet because I'll tell you what. If it was me, and Chris knows this firsthand from me, I'd have been like, you know what? I'm out of here. That's it. But you guys have managed to stick this one out, and believe me, that's kind of what the Stacy Strong Cup Series is all about. It's about sticking it out and going through the hard times as well as the easy times. So congrats to all 3 of you. Congratulations, of course, to Sean for bringing home the checkered flag. I want to thank all of you for keeping us around and keeping it entertaining. And folks, before we get out of here, as I hope you guys don't mind while we kind of talk in your ear here to close out the evening, I want to take one final look at our race results as we pull them up. As convoluted as they may be tonight, Sean Rogers captures the checkered flag here at Martinsville Speedway and brings home the win to transfer himself into the Championship 4 for next week at Phoenix. Ryan Samuelson and Chris Claude join him on the podium tonight here at Martinsville. Cody Colley finishes in 4th, while Alex Murray rounds out your top 5. RJ Root, Jacob Schneider, and Tanner Marty finish 6, 7, and 8, with Rafael Rodriguez and Jeremy Miller rounding out the top 10. Brandon Edstrom comes home in 11th position after a strong performance for most of the evening, and although couldn't be brought home in the top 5 as he had hoped, Mark Johnston finishes in 12th. McAdoo, Pennsylvania's very own John Wilco finishes in 13th, with Dalton Mobley in 14th. And Ken Ron from Dillsburg, PA, finishes in 15th. Ron Fitting and Mr. Matt Metler finish 16th and 17th, while Steve Herring comes home in 18th, with Kavaja Holt in 19th. And finishing last but not least in the field, probably the smartest one out of all of us to go home early, was Nathaniel Spomer, finishing in 20th position. And Liam, I want to thank you for coming along with us tonight in the SNN Cup Series. Of course, kind of an unconventional night here in the series, but nonetheless, we look forward to next week at Phoenix International Raceway. Of course, it's going to be pretty exciting. in championship week as always. And tomorrow night, of course, more action from right here at the Paperclip Martinsville Speedway in the A Lot Cleaner Property Management and Maintenance Xfinity Series live here on Sim Racing Media. So for everybody here in the SNN Cup Series, I want to thank you once again for making us a part of your evening. And tomorrow as you go through your day, remember, you're special. You're the only one like you, and that's good enough for me.